shalom to my Israelite brothers and sisters out there. Let me say God bless to my Christian brothers and sisters out there. Let me say assalamu alaikum to my brothers and sisters in the NOI. Let me say Islam to my Moorish brothers and sisters. Let me say peace to my brothers and sisters in the nation of God, American 5%. Let me say what's up to my atheist brothers and sisters. Let me say Jumbo to the rest of my brothers and sisters throughout the African diaspora here. Let me say the United States of America or beyond. Now, I say that greeting for many years and only is because if you're black, I'm with you. I hope you with me. Our different ideologies should not keep us from the mind. And our different, I'm sorry. And we can have unity without uniformity. We can disagree without being disrespectful and disagree. With that being said, let's go ahead and get this thing popping. So, my brother Cap, I'll let you go ahead and tell us why you believe MLK's dream was a nightmare for our people.
Well, I mean, the conditions that we are in right now speak for themselves. You understand? Like, if this was a dream come true, then I mean, why are we on the bottom of every society? You know what I'm saying? If this was a dream come true, right? This was something to have and behold, right? Why are we constantly being oppressed? You know, the thing was to join black people together with white people. So where is this utopia? You understand? Where is this you know, Martin King idea was, you know, y'all come together in love. Where is it at? I don't see it. You understand? So I mean, that alone, you understand, even without all the evidence that we have that shows that Martin Luther King was one, a false prophet, he was a hypocrite, you understand, and that dream of his was a never-ending nightmare for black people, you know. So I mean, you know, like I said, just the stuff that the man did, like, I mean, come on, he fixed nothing. Martin Luther King fixed nothing. So I mean, all of those marches and so-called efforts was effortless. It was for nothing. It was for nothing because it has gotten us nowhere. And I really, you know, me and you had several conversations, DMV. I'm really interested in hearing where you coming from. I want to know, where is my brother coming from talking about Martin Luther King? That dream of his was a dream. You know, I really want to know.
Well, let me say this. So, I think it's more nuanced than just saying it was a nightmare. I don't agree with everything Dr. King did, nor do I agree with everything our other ancestors during the time did. My thing is that a lot of people focus on Dr. King as the figurehead for the civil rights movement, but the civil rights movement started before he even got involved. So people tend to forget that Dr. King, his introduction to the civil rights movement as a 24, 25-year-old man, and he had come to town to be a pastor, and the reason they picked him was because nobody knew him. Everybody else had been recognizable by the powers that be. So they was like, let's throw Martin out there because nobody knows him, not knowing, you know, how well he could put words together, how eloquent he was, how charismatic he was, and all those different things. And so it's not like everybody talk like he created this movement, but the movement was already in play. Right. And so when we say what did he do, it's what did they do. See, he was just a cog in this wheel. See, they believed they was doing the right thing. whether or not we got the benefit of hindsight. Hindsight is always 20/20. So we can look back and say, I don't think it was a good idea to integrate. Maybe we should have, instead of saying that we weren't getting adequate education in our schools, maybe we should have looked for better infrastructure in our stuff. We got the hindsight of saying it. But all they knew was they got better schools than we do. We need to get our kids in their schools if we want our kids to have better educations. Now, it's funny how we, the people who wouldn't matter going through it, can say they should have made better decisions. Because, again, we got the hindsight of understanding what the fallout was. But I believe that they thought they was doing the right thing. So everybody come up with all these conspiracy theories about what these individuals were doing. Not even these individuals, because nobody ever mentioned anybody else. They always mentioned Dr. King. Well, he wanted white women. All right, so he bumped some white women. It's a lot of brothers that bumped, that smashed white women in their life. He was married to a black woman, and he had black mistresses. He liked women. He had a rainbow coalition of women. But like, can anybody show me a recording or a quote of this man saying, I'm gonna leave my wife for a white woman? Because he had every opportunity to do it, and he didn't. The day he died, April 4th, 1968, there was a black woman at the hotel with him. His mistress of several years was a black woman. I'm not saying the man was perfect. I'm saying the man was putting forth an effort to make things better for our people, just like these other civil rights leaders were. Again, I don't agree with everything. Let's talk about nonviolence. Oh, he put us in harm's way and let them hit us and spray us. That's right. Not only did he make the decision, several people made that decision. And several thousands or more people participated in it. And so, but here's the thing behind it though. It wouldn't to look like punks, it wouldn't to look weak. It was to put America on blast. America always telling other countries how they should conduct themselves. Always. Russia should do this. China should do this. Korea should do this. Haiti, all of these, Mexico, all of these different places is being policed by the United States. So now, on TV, the great United States, this great humanitarian country who's telling all these other countries how they should be, and now you on national TV, worldwide TV, putting water hoses on your own citizens, beating your own citizens when they ain't doing nothing. They had a peaceful protest. When, as he said, somewhere I read, the greatness of America was supposed to be the right to protest for the right. That's in the Constitution, supposedly. But now American hypocrisy got put on blast. See, everybody thought he was just, he just being a bitch. He just being a punk. No, it's to show the world that these people are hypocrites. So now the president want to get something done. Now he want to pass laws and end Jim Crow and all of these different things. Now he want to do it because these other world leaders are saying, "Get your hand out of my pocket and get your own house in order." This is chess, not checkers. But it's funny to me how people who got the hindsight of benefiting from the things that these people did can now criticize those people. That's hilarious to me. I saw a meme with Dr. Sebi, Malcolm X, and Martin Luther King. And all of these people talking about, give me Dr. Sebi and give me Malcolm X, but you can keep Dr. King. Well, I don't remember Dr. Sebi doing nothing for black people during the Civil Rights Movement. I remember Malcolm X doing, sitting up in New York, talking about what was happening in the South for the safety of the North. And Malcolm was remained, but he was safe up in Harlem. talking about what was happening in the South. While Dr. King was in the thick of it, getting his head cracked and getting shit done. So everybody got something to say about how to do it, but they never did it. So all I'm saying is the man was flawed, the man made mistakes, they all did, but me and you probably wouldn't even be sitting here on YouTube if it wasn't for the efforts him and his constituents made on our behalf. I'm going to turn it over to you guys.
No sweat. I disagree with that. If we had not followed Martin Luther King, we probably have our own YouTube.
Right.
You understand? Like we did before, we have our own everything, and we didn't need America for nothing. So I disagree. You understand? So that's the way Martin Luther King see it. You understand? That's the way he saw it. You know what? We don't have a job if we don't go work for white people. We ain't gonna have a car unless we buy it from white people. When black man paid the goddamn pension, black man paid the car.
Right.
He said, so we give all this credit to white people, you know, and us being under their heel. Like, I don't even get that. It's not like you said that we benefited from what they did. Then when we benefited from no paying jobs, no paying jobs. You know what I'm saying? Our brothers and sisters are being murdered by cops. That's a benefit. You know, we talk about what they went through back then. I'm just addressing what you said about us benefiting now. People having something to say, and we're benefiting from what effort he made. Even though the man was flawed. You said that you agree with that. You understand? I'm totally in agreement. He was completely flawed. He was totally wrong. I don't agree with nothing that man did. Not one thing. Okay? But to say that we wouldn't be anywhere if it hadn't been for him integrating the world, that was a horrible idea. That was a horrible idea for him to integrate us with our oppressor.
I'm right.
Because look at us now where we are. It's not like black people are just living life. It's just a song, right? Living your best life. But we are being oppressed and hurt. You understand? Black folks ain't living their best damn life. And we've never had, I mean, how many years have we been marching here? We've been slaves here in America for 500 years. And we've been marching, damn, we're getting close to marching for freedom and justice. The same old thing, almost the same amount of years, for over 100 years already. We have still been marching and protesting. So what did we benefit? If you benefit from something, it's supposed to be at some point, you know, it's supposed to show in your life, in your daily life, right? If we benefit from civil rights, then guess what? We should be benefiting from civil rights. It would look like it in the housing market, the job market, when you just walking up and down the damn street. You know, Michael Brown, he would have benefited from civil rights. He'll still be alive. Sandra Bland, if we benefited from civil rights, she'll still be alive. You understand? And I mean, I can just go on and on and on and on with that list. You know, and then to where you said that he loved women, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a man loving a woman. You're supposed to. But by him so-called being a man of God, in the Bible, there are certain women that you can love, and there are certain women that you cannot. It is completely unlawful for a black man to be with a white woman. One of his colleagues had said in one of their documentaries that he did, he said that that's a bad idea for you to have that white woman. But they convinced him to marry a black woman because he was in love with a white woman. You understand? Always have been. And they said this is not going to look good for you being the civil rights leader of the black movement with a white girl. It's not going to look good. You understand? And something else you said about Martin Luther King, he was extremely intelligent. You ain't lying about that. That man was no dummy, right? When it came to education, he went to what, 5 colleges? You understand? And seminary college. You know, the man was extremely bright. You know, he followed his father and grandfather being a Baptist preacher. You know, so I mean, he did a lot of things. He got he got enrolled in college. He enrolled in college at the age of 15. You understand? Yeah. So I mean, Martin Luther King, like he wasn't no dummy. You're right. But why was he so dumb at trying to integrate us with white people? Go ahead.
If I may, I just want to give you a quick fact. So this is how you know what that colleague said about him saying that he should marry Coretta because it was bad for him as the leader of the civil rights movement. This is how you know that was a lie. He was already married to Coretta Scott King before he entered the civil rights movement.
We ain't talking about that. We not.
Quick correction. So actually, when he married Coretta Scott King, he hadn't officially entered it, but he was going to enter it. So to get the backing of one of the largest black churches, he married the daughter of the pastor. That's the reason it was Coretta, and not any just random black woman. He politically picked the woman to marry,
right.
and it was for her father's church because of the backing and the historical place that Ebenezer Baptist Church had in the black community in the South. Like, that was all political. Like, he had trained when he was overseas and going to all of these schools. He was training for a political career. Of course, he hadn't made any official moves, but you do the prep work, you do the setup before you present yourself. You have to present the right image in the first place to even start as a leader. So that's why he did it. Yes, it was before he entered the movement, but it was before he officially entered the movement. He was already being groomed for the position.
Right, and that statement was made not during the civil rights that movement. This was when he was in college with this white girl. You understand? This is when he made that statement about that. You understand? So like I said, and he turned around, and I forgot the year. Wait a minute, I think it was 55. I can't remember what year it was when he turned around and jumped in that thing. You understand? Where he was moving up. He wasn't totally all the way in it. Yeah, somewhere up in there. He wasn't all the way in it, but he was moving up. Like you said, he was preparing for it. You understand? He turned around and got all the way up in the ranks, and then you can't. I mean, how does that look? I mean, you look like a hypocrite. You look crazy. You saying, damn white people, but then hell, you laying in the bed with one every night. Or even periodic. So, like I said, Martin Luther King was, he was all for that. You understand? He was, you said people like put it all up on him, don't like to mention nobody else. He was just simply the poster child. Right. Of course, it did not start with him. You understand? But Martin Luther King, he epitomized the civil rights movement. You understand? Right. He was the civil rights movement. That's why everybody after him try to follow him, talk like him, walk like him, preach like him, teach like him. They do everything behind Martin Luther King because they follow that same damn dream. You understand? Which is a nightmare for black people. And then let me see. I'm definitely going to address that nonviolence that you mentioned. You say you was in you disagree with him on that. I totally disagree with him on that. The Bible disagrees with him on that. But for this man to be as educated as he is, like I said, why was he so dumb? Why was he so dumb at doing the things that he was doing? Trying to get, what was, I still want to know. What was what was the big idea? Why was it so important for you to go and eat at white people restaurants? I don't understand that. Why was it so important for you to go and work a job for them? Why was it so important for us to fill their establishment with black faces when we had our own establishments? That made no sense. I still want an answer to that question. And then let me see. You said that Martin King put America on blast to show the world that these people are peacefully protesting. And look at what they were doing to their own citizens, sticking dogs on them, beating them with billy clubs, spraying them with pepper spray. Just doing everything evil to them, throwing rocks at them, spitting on them. Doing every manner of evil. And then you said that was exposing them to the world to showed a shame. You know what it showed? It showed just how weak black people are.
Damn right.
That's what it showed. It didn't show that. You know what happened? You know what it did show? The world thinks twice before they start messing with America. Because if they do this to their own citizens,
right,
that live there, beat the hell out of them, all they doing is walking and singing up and down the damn street. You know what? No, I think we better, deal cautiously with these people. Because they are obviously animals and they are untamed. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna have to deal with them in a certain way. So they didn't show that. They didn't look at that and see, oh my God, look at what they are doing to them. You know what I'm saying? Shame on America. No. It didn't expose anything. It showed just how weak black people are. Because guess what? Nobody follows that method. Nobody follows that. Walk up and down the street and beat you upside the head. What's the other? Punch you in the other cheek. Nobody follows that, DMG. You understand? So like I said, it's a lot of things that you said you brought. We're gonna address just that. You understand? But go ahead. What's it? Where you got?
Yeah. Well, I understand. Where you're coming from. Just a quick note. So, this white girl that Dr. King had a relationship with in college. So Dr. King went to college at age 15. He graduated high school at 15. Graduated at 19. And so, I guess the allegation is that he met this girl while he was a teenager and was planning to marry her because he met Coretta at Boston College. So it didn't have anything to do with church politics because the Ebenezer Baptist Church's father was the pastor. He was the pastor there anyway. So that's what I mean by you get a lot of things put out there that's just not true. Now, but again, I do feel you on things being strategic, and maybe his father did, or his family, whatever the case may be, they were planning for him to enter the movement at some point because I believe his father was active prior, before him. So I'm not saying that part not true, but with regards to his wife, she was from the South, but they met in college. So, and this was after the relationship with the white girl. So I'm just saying he was a teenager, and so I guess, because none of us was there, I guess we supposed to say, okay, between 15 and 19, this black dude from the South thought he was going to be able to marry a white woman. And then, they was like, nah, it ain't a good idea, and you should marry Coretta. Like, so I'm just trying to see how that's supposed to make sense. When the reality is, I don't care who you was back then. Homeboy was gonna have a hard time if he really did. If Coretta didn't exist, he was gonna have a hard time with Becky. So I'm just like, to me, that part is kind of because he was gonna be if he was gonna be in the civil rights movement, if that was his father's plan, and he was gonna be the pastor of the Ebenezer Baptist Church, because that was his father's church, that's what it was gonna be anyway. He didn't have to get married to a particular woman. He could have married any woman in that church. So all I'm saying is, it's a lot of stuff that's been said about this man because of how we feel about how he did things and what he did, that we just, like, it don't make sense. So again, he only wanted to integrate so that he can leave his wife and marry a white woman. But he had, the day he died, it was his mistress was a black woman, very well at the Lorraine Hotel. See, he was so obsessed with white women that he had a black woman on the road with him.
Let me ask you a question, DMG.
You know what I mean?
Let me ask you a question real quick. At what age did you marry Coretta?
24.
24. Now you know the white girl was before her, right?
Right. That's what they say that they met while he was in Morehouse. He was 15 at Morehouse. He graduated at 19.
But he met and he was with that white girl when he was in seminary college. You understand? When he was like 19, he met her.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you got it backwards a little bit. You say he got with the white girl and was gonna leave his back for a white girl.
No. I know the white girl was before Coretta. What I mean is, people from this is what I heard.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Now, what we always hear is that he was so in love with this white girl that he had to be convinced to leave her alone, and that because he had been in love with her, that was the sole reason for wanting integration. And this is the other part that nobody seems to understand. The South, Jim Crow South, was the only place where segregation was. There wasn't segregation up north.
It's a lot.
So people tend to think that the whole country was segregated. Like we had our own communities all over the place. Now, you know, I grew up in Burke. My parents from Kinloch. Kinloch was a black town right here in St. Louis. So I know we had our own cities with our own stores. A man named Sweetie used to come pick up my grandmother dry cleaning every day. So I know what it is to only deal with your people. So we had that even where it wasn't segregated. So and this was after segregation had ended. So just because it was integration didn't mean that we still didn't have our own cities. So that's another myth that I think need to be debunked. So I think my brother was trying to say something.
Yeah, Ball one section real quick. Go ahead, Ball. So, and then we're gonna let you you gonna start first, DMG?
Like I said, you can do your presentation because I ain't got no PowerPoint.
Okay, that's good. Go ahead, Ball.
So that's where you get it wrong. It's because you're from the South, so that's all you saw. See, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and we had in 1966 called the Hub Route, and that's where they started to refine gentrification, so they wouldn't allow black people to stay in one area too long and keep moving them. Because when my mother was a child, she was a part of being bused to different schools to try to integrate the school system in Cleveland, Ohio. Racism was everywhere. If I'm not mistaken, Fred Hampton was murdered in Chicago because of the racism that was going on and segregation in Chicago. The entire country was segregated. It's just in the South is where Martin Luther King was the poster boy. They didn't like MLK's message, so they blasted Martin Luther King everywhere. So you saw in the South what was going on. So in the South, you felt like that's all it was, and that's all the only place it was. And the North was this wonderful place. The North was just the same as the South, except it got more publicity down here. In fact, when I was a kid, they were still trying to integrate the neighborhoods. If you look at the demographics today, Cleveland, Ohio, where I'm from, is still segregated. As you know, it changes.
We can read DMG.
Here.
Go ahead.
So racial segregation was everywhere in this country.
Yeah.
It's just it got promoted harder that it happened in the South. But that doesn't mean it wasn't happening anywhere else. And in case you didn't know, if you go any further north than Cleveland, you're in Canada. Like that's as far north as you can go. There was segregation in this country, and in '66 was what, 2 years after they died,
yeah.
And that's when they were having riots in Cleveland over there. So
and real quick, you know the name of this school? Because I forgot. I brought it out when I went when we went broke ground in Cleveland. I brought it out that you just mentioned. That school, man, they was trying to integrate our people with the white folks, and they went and trying to get an education and went through some of the worst stuff they started trying to throw the whole school. You know that? They did not want them Lakers in that school.
So I think it might have been West Tech because they ended up eventually shutting the school down. But and West Tech. The reason I say West Tech is because in Cleveland, black people on the east side, Hispanics they around around West 25th, white people on the west side. Mm-hmm. So when you got to West Tech, that was a white neighborhood. Yeah. So sending the kids to Lincoln West and West Tech, that was a traumatic thing in Cleveland.
I know it was, because like I said, I brought that out at camp. You know, about racism that go on in Cleveland. So yeah, that's another one. DMG is wrong here. Now it wasn't.
Real quick, let me hold up. First of all, let me drop a bomb. Officer, cut him up. Future captain, cut him up. Now, you know that's my name. I started to put him on fire. But y'all took that picture.
You put outside on the flyer.
Y'all knew what you doing.
Put my kilo up.
Yeah. So, but I wouldn't say my grandmother is from the South. I'm from St. Louis, so I wasn't saying that it wasn't segregation all over the country. I'm saying that it was only law in the South. That's why I said my parents are from Kinloch. I'm from Berkeley. Kinloch was an all-black city right here in St. Louis County. It was an all-black city. So that's what I meant. I know what it is to have your own city and to only deal with your people. And it didn't stop after segregation ended, or in the South. So I know exactly what the brother's talking about. When he's saying it happened with his mother, that happened with my mother, with my father. My father went from Kinloch High School, all-black high school, to North County. In fact, you probably know what North County Tech is. Yeah. So that was basically the same thing. So see what I mean? So yeah, I wouldn't even disagree with the brother on that particular thing. I may not have heard it in a way that it may sound like I was saying something different, but I really I just want to do it.
Yeah, no sweat. Alright, let me go and get it cracking. Let me show this screen. Martin Luther King, his dream was a nightmare. Yeah, Mark. Complete night. Martin Luther King, his dream was a nightmare. Yeah, I like to you got it, it's up. A complete nightmare.
A little wild if you can.
Yeah, I like that flyer too. You got it, it's up. It ain't full
yeah. No, like I said, you can still see your
make it a little wider.
You
sure? And then that's good to go.
Make it wider. I got it. It ain't full screen now. It's in.
No, like I say, we can still see your.
It ain't the same one that you pulled up, right? That you had. I got it.
Yeah, it's the first one. Go up to.
I stopped sharing.
So go.
It ain't the same one that you pulled up, right? That you had the first one. Okay.
Yeah, it's the first one. Go up to
I stopped sharing.
When you go back in, just go to slideshow. That's what I meant. To where we can't see.
Just go to slideshow.
Right. Or we can't see your other slide off to the side.
Just go to slideshow. That's what I meant.
And then that way your screen will be bigger.
Just go to slideshow.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Where we can't see your other slide off to the side. And then that way your screen will be bigger. If that makes sense.
No, it ain't.
So it should be up in like about the middle of the screen, up there where it give you all the options like file, home, insert.
So it should be up in like about the middle of the screen, up there where it give you all the options like file, home, insert.
Because once I click it,
wheel, Cap. Where are your wheels?
Let's see. It's got. It
once
should be showing it now.
Real, Cap. Where your real?
I got it up.
Okay, it's full screen now.
It's still not doing
He sharing it now.
the slideshow. But go ahead, Rocky.
I got it up.
Rocky.
Okay, it's full screen
It's in,
now.
it's in
It's
full
still not
screen.
doing the slideshow. But go ahead, rock with it.
You don't have an option up there where it says
You
slideshow?
see it, Cabal?
Wait a minute.
It's in full screen.
Keep slide
At the top.
updated.
I wonder why is it not doing it?
You don't have an option up there where it says slideshow?
Wait a minute, let me click.
It's in the mode.
Let's see.
So, okay, you see at the top.
What about now? What about now?
I don't know. It's in the mode.
It's still the same.
So, okay, you see at the top.
What about now? What about now?
Nah, it's still the
It still
same.
ain't doing it.
It's this one, right?
Which one?
There you go.
Okay, so it's in full screen now?
It's this one, right?
Yep.
There you go.
Okay, so it's in full screen now.
See, when I be doing my lectures, all I gotta do is click the other option I was doing. It show right up.
Bigger.
Okay, so we good to go.
You go.
See, when I be doing my lectures, all I gotta do is just click the other option I was doing, and it show right up. Yeah, okay, so we good.
I can count
Yeah,
them
go
all.
ahead.
He do more than slice people.
Real did have
Oh,
more
yeah.
science.
You do.
That's what's up. That's
So
what's up.
I can count on them all.
Right, he do more than slice people up. I
Sweet
see.
dream.
Oh yeah. Oh, he
Never
did. He
end the
do.
night for black people.
Alright.
You know,
Okay,
these are
so
some
we get over
things that a lot
down
of people
to a
say.
couple of these.
You know, when they hear us address it,
Was it all
address
just
and
a
address
sweet
more.
dream, or never end the night
I've
for
heard
black?
on several different times.
You know, because these are some of the things that a lot of people
Oh
say.
God, that's
You
a
know,
title
they hear us
I would
address it.
never give
And
a
address
man of his caliber.
You know,
You
they say,
understand?
I've heard on
A man of
several
his house,
different times. Martin Luther King was a revolution.
Earned the
Oh
title.
my God, that's a title I would never give a man of his caliber. You understand? A man of his caliber
So
can only
Martin Luther
earn
King's
the
Christian
title
upbringing
of
had everything to do with his dream to integrate black people
COWARD.
with white people.
Caliber.
God had nothing
You
to do with
understand?
his life.
Show you how Martin Luther King's Christian upbringing had everything to do with his dream to
This is
integrate black
when
people
Martin
with
King
white people.
took his trip
God had nothing to do with
over
his life.
to India.
Alright,
You
I'm gonna start off with this
understand,
first
to
article
seek
about
out,
biography.
Gandhi's
.com.
passive aggressive.
This is when Martin
Alright.
Luther King took his
From
trip
this article, it says,
over
"It's me to realize
India,
the power in
you
Gandhi's
understand,
approach
to
to
seek
stand up
out,
to oppression with true
Gandhi's
force."
passive
This is what
aggressive movement.
Martin Luther King
Alright.
called true force.
This is
Not
from this
Gandhi.
article. It says the civil rights
Alright.
leader realized the power
Were
in
you-
Gandhi's
were-
approach to
were
standing
you on
up
a
to
different
oppression with true force.
Yeah,
This is what
what happened?
Martin Luther King called it,
He's not moving.
not what Gandhi
Right.
called it. All right.
Hey,
Uh-huh.
Kid, are you on a different slide?
Hold on.
Yeah, I am. What happened? Hold on.
Now,
There you go. Move out to Ashby, inspire people all over the world.
What about
okay, yeah, that's what
There you
I'm
go.
Okay.
All right, it said inspire Mahatma
Move out to
Gandhi
Ashby, inspire
inspired
people
all over the world,
Is that
including
where you
the
at?
United
Okay, yeah,
States
that's what I'm
most famous civil rights leader.
All right. It said inspire Mahatma Gandhi inspired people all over the
Over 2
world,
million
including one of the United
never
States
got a
most
chance to
famous
meet.
civil
King
rights
was
leaders,
19
Martin
when
Luther
Gandhi
King
was assassinated.
Jr.
King learned about Gandhi through his
Over 2
writing
million never,
and trip to
never
India in
got a chance to
1959.
meet. King was
King
19
grew
when
heavily
Gandhi was
on
assassinated.
Gandhian principles
King learned
of
about Gandhi through his writing
and his
and a
own
trip to
civil
India
rights
in 1959.
activism.
King drew
Writing
heavily
that while
on
the
Gandhian
Montgomery
principles
boycott
of
was going on,
nonviolence in
India's
his
Gandhi
own
was the
civil rights
guiding light
activism.
of the
Writing that while the Montgomery boycott was going on, India's Gandhi was the guiding light.
India's
the-
Gandhi
hold on
was the
one
guiding
second.
light of the technique of non-violent social change. And we're gonna see about
All right,
that.
it says
We're gonna see if that's
India's
true.
Gandhi was the guiding light
you
of the
understand,
technique
was a
of
guiding light of
nonviolent
Martin King.
social change. We're gonna
Nonviolent
see
change.
about that. We're gonna
And
see
now,
if that's
hold on
true.
one
That
second. Now my
Gandhi,
screen is
you
stopped.
understand, was a guiding light for Martin Luther King's non-violent change. And now, hold on one second. Now my
Hold
screen
on. We
is
still live,
stopped.
DMG? Okay, hold on. My screen is froze now.
Hold on. We still live, DMG?
Yes, sir.
Okay, hold on. My screen is froze now. 1 second.
Hold on, we
Sorry.
still.
Yep.
Hold on 1 second.
Ain't moving. Hold on, we
Sorry.
still moving up.
You want to exit out?
Hold on 1 second.
I'm moving up.
It ain't even exiting up. I want to exit up. Not moving enough. See what?
What it looking like now, DMG?
It's on that page where it say Gandhi inspired people all over the world.
All right, what we looking like now, DMG?
Skip to the next one.
It's still on that page where it say
Okay, cool.
Gandhi inspired people all over the world.
All right.
Okay, did you skip to the next one?
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, we got it. We got it. All right.
Okay, nonviolence is a more than simply it's more than simply agreeing that you won't physically attack your enemy. Gandhi
Okay,
refers to
nonviolence
this form
is a
of
more
nonviolence
than simply
as
it's more than simply agreeing that you won't physically attack your enemy. Gandhi referred to his form of nonviolence
force or love force.
as
First off, I'm gonna show you how he is a big lie. That word
meaning truth,
does
force,
not
or love.
mean
Force.
what he just
First
said.
off, I'm gonna show you
Okay,
how
this is what that word means.
is a big lie.
It says a policy
That word
of passive
does not
political
mean
resistance,
what he
especially
just
that advocated by
Okay,
Mahatma
this is
Gandhi.
what that word means.
Okay, against the British
It says
rule.
a policy
Don't
of
say nothing about no
passive
love for us.
political
This
resistance,
is all Martin
especially
King
that
idea.
advocated
All
by
right.
Mahatma Gandhi.
And I'm gonna skip down.
Okay, against British rule in India.
Uh,
So
Don't say
that-
about
okay,
no love.
So Dr. King said this.
Martin
Gandhi.
King.
Yeah, this was Dr.
Right.
King's work.
And I'm gonna skip down.
These are his words
So
right here.
Okay,
In
So
this
Dr.
article.
King said this, not Gandhi.
yeah,
About
this
the-
was Dr.
It's like about the
King's
love
words.
force.
All right.
All right, and it says
These are
King
his words right
connected
here.
Christianity to Gandhi's teaching.
About that.
King
It's like
first
about the
learned
love
of Gandhi's
force.
concept of
All right,
nonviolence
it
as a
says
seminary
King
student.
connected
As a
Christianity
Christian,
to Gandhi's
he
teaching.
connected the Hindu
King
thinker's
first
words to
learned
the
of
biblical
Gandhi's
appeal
concept
of
of
Jesus
nonviolence as a
to love
seminary
your
student.
enemies
As
and
a
pray for
Christian,
those who persecute
He
you.
connected
Right?
the Hindu
And you gonna find
thinker's
out
words to
Gandhi
the
did not have
biblical
nothing to
appeal of
do.
Jesus.
Right.
Martin
Love your
King did.
enemies
It
and
says
pray for those
Martin
who
King
persecute you.
connected. As a
Right?
Christian,
And you
he
gonna find out
connected the
Gandhi
Hindu
did not
thinker's
have nothing
words
to
to
do
the
with it.
biblical appeal.
Martin Luther
Right?
King did.
And what you'll
It
find
says
is that
Martin Luther King
in
connected.
Christianity, none of those
As a
words,
Christian,
none of those
he
ways of
connected
thinking
the
is in
Hindu
the Bible.
thinker's words to
You
the
understand?
biblical
Well, I got
appeal.
scriptures to back
Right?
it up.
And what you
All
will
right,
find
and it says, I
is
came
that
to see for the
in
first time
Christianity,
the
none of those
Christian
words, none of
doctrine
those ways of
of
thinking
love
is in the Bible.
operating through
You
the
understand?
Gandhian
Well, I got
method
scriptures to
of
back it up.
nonviolence was
All right,
one
and it
of
says, I
the
came to
most
see
potent
for the
weapons
first time
available
the
to
Christian
oppress
doctrine
people in their
of
struggle
love
for freedom.
operating
King
through the
later
Gandhian
wrote.
method of
This is
nonviolence
his
was
word.
one of the most
And I'll read it again. It
weapons
says,
available
I
to
came
oppress
to see
people
for the
in their
first
struggle
time
for
that
freedom.
the Christian
King later
doctrine
wrote. This
of
is
love,
his word.
he is
And I'll read it
lying.
again. It says,
You
I
understand?
came to
Gandhi
see for
wasn't
the
no
first
damn
time
Christian.
that the Christian
You understand?
doctrine
Gandhi had
of
nothing to do with
love,
Christianity.
he is
Martin King
lying.
did.
You
Now,
understand?
first,
Gandhi
he
wasn't no
claimed
damn
that
Christian. You
the
understand?
doctrine is
Gandhi had
being
nothing to do with
is
Christianity.
he saw the
King
doctrine
did.
working
Now, first,
in
he
India by
claimed
Gandhi,
that
but it says he later
doctrine
wrote
is
that.
being
You understand?
he
That's
saw the
a whole
doctrine
lie.
working
DMG. He ain't
in
seen no
India by
Christianity
Gandhi.
over with Gandhi.
But it
He
says
went
he later
and
wrote
saw
that.
how to
You
be what you
understand?
call him,
That's a
DMG.
whole
He said
DMG. He ain't seen no
BITC
Christianity
or
over there with
BI or
He
park
went And Saul,
Martin
Saul
Luther King
what you
went
call
over
it?
there,
You said,
studied this man, and turned around and brought back how to be a B.I.P.I. and gave it to black people.
Martin
Look
Luther
at
King
that.
went over there,
You understand? The only somebody that we
and turned around and brought back
violent
your
with
B.I.P.I.
is other black
and
people.
gave it to black
But we'll
people.
murder the hell out of each other in a
You
minute.
understand? The only
We'll
somebody
beat the
that
dog
we
snot out of every brother in a
nonviolent
heartbeat.
with
But
is other
don't
black
turn
people.
around and give our
We'll
people
murder
the
the hell out of each other
$9.
in a minute.
You understand
We'll
what's
beat
in
the dog snot
Alright,
out
it
of
said
every
in his
brother in a
1958 book, Stride
But we
Toward
won't
Freedom,
turn around and give our people none of that
Montgomery
nonviolence will.
King laid out the principles of
Alright, and it
nonviolence
says in his
employed during the boycott.
1958 book,
He
Stride
affirmed
Toward
that it
Freedom,
is
I'm trying to wrap
possible
this
to
up.
resist evil
The
without
Montgomery
resorting to
story,
violence and to
King laid out the principles
evil
of
is simple without
nonviolence he
opposing
employed
the
during the
people in
boycott.
evil.
He affirmed
He
that it's
also
possible
wrote
to
that people
resist
who
evil
practice
without
law,
resorting to violence and to
people who
oppose
practice
evil itself without
nonviolence
opposing
must
the
be
people
willing to
committing
suffer
evil.
without
He
pay attention.
also wrote that people who practice
He also wrote that people who
People who
practice
practice
nonviolence must be willing to
nonviolence must be
suffer
willing to
without
suffer without
retaliation,
pay attention.
internal or external.
He also wrote that
The
people who
nonviolent
practice
resistor not
nonviolence
only
must be
refuses to
willing
shoot
to
his
suffer
opponent,
without
but he also
retaliation.
refuses to hit him. So you
Internal or
can't do
external.
nothing to your
The
oppressor,
nonviolent resistor
either
not only
physically or even
refuses to
mentally. You
shoot
can't
his
think about hating
opponent,
this
but
man.
he also
You
refuses
understand?
to
That's
hit
basically
him.
what he
So
said.
you can't
Internal
do
or
nothing
external.
to
You
your
can't fight him.
oppressor,
You can't put your hands
physically
on
or
him. You
even
can't
mentally.
shoot
You
him.
can't
You
think
can't
about
defend
hating.
yourself in no type of way.
You
And you
understand? That's
cannot
basically
even
what he's saying.
in your
Internal
mind
or external.
think
You can't fight him.
anything
You can't put your hands on him. You can't shoot him. You can't defend
oppressor.
yourself in
And
no
this-
type of
this
way. And you
is
better not
so
even
wrong for
in
black
your
people.
mind even
You
think
understand? Because
anything
your
ill
mind
towards
is terrible thing
your
to waste.
oppressor.
And we wasted
This
it on
is
loving
so
white people.
wrong for black
We have
people.
wasted our
You
mind
understand?
trying to join
Because
white people.
your mind
You know,
is a terrible
That's
thing to
why
waste.
a lot of
And
us
we wasted it on
so
loving
damn
white people.
mentally
We
ill.
wasted our mind
Right?
trying to
Don't keep
join
going,
white
stop
people.
it up.
You know,
He
that's
said he
why
saw
a lot of us
nonviolence as an
are so
expression
damn
of love for all
mentally
people.
ill.
Says
Right?
Norman Carson,
I'm gonna keep going.
a
So I
history
can-
professor and director of
He said he
Martin
saw
Luther King Jr.
nonviolence
Research and
as
Education
an
Institute
expression
at
of
Stanford
love for
University.
all people.
It's a way of
Says
reaching
Claiborne
people and
Carson,
convincing them
a history
of the
professor and
rightness
director
of your
of the Martin
cause.
Luther King Jr.
Okay, now we
Research
gonna
and
see
Education Institute
this
at Stanford
preacher
University.
get this from the
It's a
Bible,
way of reaching people and
because that's what
convincing
he
them
was, right?
of the rightness of your cause.
You said
Okay, now we gonna see
that he was going to
did
take
this
over his
preacher
father's church.
get this from the Bible,
right?
because that's
So
what he
in the
was.
Bible,
He was a Baptist.
This is
preacher.
Ecclesiastes
You said
6 and
yourself,
13.
DMG, that he was going
It
to
says,
take over his father's
separate
church.
thyself from thine
Right?
enemies.
So in the Bible,
It don't say join
this is
together.
Ecclesiastes 6 and
You understand?
it says
Integration
separate
movement
thyself
was out
from
of
thine
Martin Luther
enemies.
King Jr.'s own sick
It don't
mind.
say join together
It
with
had
him.
nothing to do with the Lord.
You
It had
understand?
nothing to do with God.
This
It had nothing
integration
to do with a promised land. Because this is not a promised land. This
King
is
Jr.'s own
this is
sick mind.
our slave land.
It had
That's what
nothing
it
to do
is.
with the Lord.
This
It had
is our
nothing to do with
land where we
God.
are being
It had nothing to
oppressed
do with a
at.
promised land, because
You
this is not a
understand?
promised land.
So it
This
says
is
again,
this
separate
is our
thyself from
slave
thine
land.
enemies.
That's what it is.
And to
This
heed
is
of
our
thy
land where
friend.
we are being
Here's
oppressed
the
at.
next scripture. It's
You
First
understand?
Maccabees
So
chapter
it
3
says
verse
again,
19.
separate thyself from
For
thine
the
enemies
victory of
and
battle
take
standeth
heed
not in
of
the
thy
multitude
friend.
of an host, but
Then the next
strength from heaven.
It's
You
First
gotta have the
Maccabees
Lord
chapter
back in
3
you.
verse 19.
The Lord was not
For the
with Moses.
victory of battle
It
standeth
said,
not in the
come against us
multitude of
and
an host, but
multiply
strength
and
coming from
iniquity
heaven.
to
You
destroy
gotta have the
us
Lord back
and our wives
DMG.
and
The
children
Lord was not with
and to
Moses.
spoil us. Who
It
did that?
says they come against us in
Our
much
oppressors,
pride
the so-called
and iniquity to destroy
He
us
destroyed
and
everybody.
our
Martin Luther King
wives
even
and
pushed our children out there in
and
the
to
mud
spoil us. Who
and got them hurt. And I'm
You
going to bring
understand?
that out
Our
too.
oppressors, the so-called
And
white
then
man.
verse 21
He
it says,
destroyed
but we
everybody. Martin Luther King even
fight
pushed
our
our
lives
children out there in
and
the
our
mud
laws.
and got them
Why
hurt.
on
And
earth
I'm
was
gonna bring that
Martin
out too.
Luther King teaching
And
people
then
to
verse
just walk the
21
same?
says, but we fight
You
for
understand?
our lives and
It's not
our
against
laws.
God's law to
Why
defend
on
yourself,
earth
your
was
life,
Martin Luther
and your
King
family.
teaching people to just
Somebody
walk
come
the
in here
same?
right now trying to harm me and my brothers.
You understand?
It's going to be them.
It's not
versus us.
against God's
That's
laws to
right.
defend
We
yourself and
make
your
it out
life
alive.
and your family.
You
If somebody
understand?
coming in
And
here
I
right
put my
now
life
trying to
on the
harm me
line
and
for
my
this.
brothers, guess what? It's gonna be
You
them
understand?
before it's us.
For my family, my kids, I went
We
out,
gonna make it out
I I ain't talking about that.
You understand?
You don't wanna go
And
there.
I
That's a
put my
line
life
you
on
don't
the line
wanna
for this truth.
You
You
understand?
understand?
I be the Will
For my
Smith.
family, my kids, my women. Nah, I ain't even talking about that.
Hey,
You ain't gonna go there. That's a line you. You understand? I be the Will
I
Smith.
drop a bomb for you.
Alright. But let me get Jeremiah real quick. Jeremiah
I gotta drop a bomb for you on that one,
32. This is Martin Luther King, right? This is the Lord prophesying.
But let me get Jeremiah
Martin
real
Luther King.
quick. Jeremiah 23.
It said, I have heard what the
32.
prophet said.
this is more
lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed.
It says, I have
Even
heard
when he characterized that speech
in my name,
did on
saying,
Washington,
I have
he
dreamed,
turned around and he's most famous for it.
Even though he plagiarized
It says, how long shall we be in the heart of the prophets
did
that
on,
prophesy lies?
He turned around and
They are prophets of the deceit of their own
it
heart.
says, how long
What
shall
the
we
king,
be in
if
the
he
heart of
was
the prophets
so-
that prophesy
If
lies?
he was,
Yeah,
it
they
had
are
any
prophets
ounce of
the
biblical
deceit
integrity,
of their
he would have
own
went in
heart.
the scripture,
What
and he would have
king,
saw
if
that,
he was
and he would have
so-
said, well, God said,
if he was-
separate from my enemy,
it had
join
any
together.
ounce of biblical
Not try to
integrity,
go work
he would have went in the
for
scripture,
them when they don't
he would
want
have
to
saw
you.
that, and he would
Not
have said
try
what
to
God
go
said.
eat in the
Separate from my
restaurants
not try to
when
join
they
together.
don't want to feed
Not
you.
try
They
to
don't
go
serve
work
you.
for
Not try
them
to
when they
live in
don't
their
want to hire
community
you.
when we have
Not
our
try
own.
to
Why
go
is it so
eat in a
important to
restaurant
live next
when
to
they
white people
don't
that you
wanna
have
feed you, they don't wanna
problems
serve
with
you.
daily?
Not try to live in their communities when
Chris
they have
Brown.
our own.
That
Why
brother,
is it so
I love Chris
important
Brown.
to live
He
next
can
to
dance
white
his
people
ass
that you
off.
have
Check a dance
problems
like
with daily?
Okay, you know what I'm saying? I ain't no dance nigga. You know what I'm
Chris
saying?
Brown.
I let Chris do the dance.
I love Chris
But
Brown,
cat,
man.
man, I
He can
let
dance
it
his
do.
ass off. I
Right?
wish I could dance
He
like him.
rich, got money,
Okay,
all that.
you know
He
what I'm saying? I ain't no
out to
dancing
the
nigga,
white
you know what I'm saying?
nigga.
I let Chris do the dance. But the cat, I let it do. Right? He's rich, got money, all
Not
that.
a
He moved
Tiger Woods,
out to
man,
the white
Michael
neighborhood.
Jordan,
You know they
right?
didn't want that rich man.
Oh my God.
They didn't want that rich black
Michael
man.
Jordan. Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Not Tiger Woods,
Michael
man.
Jordan.
Michael
Of
Jordan,
all people.
right?
Right?
Oh my
Michael
God.
didn't even want to be around him. What?
Michael
He-
Jordan, come on.
Other than
You
give you a lot of money.
Right.
Michael
Entertained the hell out of the
all
world,
people,
jumping from the damn
right?
half
White people
line
didn't
and
want to be
fucking the
around
ball.
him. What,
I mean, come on, what did he do wrong?
Other than
But he
making
don't
a
even
lot
want
of
to be
money,
around rich black people
entertaining the
own
hell out of
and
the
own.
world, jumping from the
Right?
damn
But it
half
was
court
out
line
of
and
Martin
dunking
Luther
the ball.
King, the
I mean,
of
come
his
on, what did he do
own
wrong?
heart for
But they
us
don't
to
even want to be
join
around rich
together. Don't try to
black
put
people
that
own
mess in
and
there
own
talking
and
about
own.
you done
Right?
seen
But it was
us
out of
at the
Martin
promised
King,
land
the seat
and the
of his
mountaintop.
own heart. For
You
us
understand?
to
We at the
join
bottom
together.
of
Don't
the
try to
pit.
put that mess in there
Martin
talking
Luther
about
King ain't no
you
damn
done seen
mountaintop.
us
Right.
at the
We ain't no
promised
promised
land
land.
and
We
the
ain't no
mountain.
good. Come on, man.
You understand? We
This
at the
was the
bottom of the
nightmare
pit.
Hill, G.
Martin
And then
Luther
it
King ain't
says
no
in
damn
27, it
mountaintop.
says, which
We
thing
ain't no
causes
promised land. We
people
ain't
to
doing
forget
good.
my
Come on,
name
man.
by their dreams,
This was a nightmare.
which
Hill,
they
G.
tell every
And then
man
it
to
says
his
in
name,
27, it
as
says,
their
which
fathers
thing
have
cause
forgotten my name
people to
over all.
forget
Now
my
see, we just
name
turned around
by their
and started
dreams,
going, that's
which
Christianity.
they tell
You
every
understand?
man to his neighbor.
Christianity by
As
all
their
same
fathers
thing.
have
You
forgotten my
worship
name
another
for
God,
all. Now
not the
see, we
God of
just
the
turned
Bible.
around and
Okay?
started
So
worshiping
this
Christianity.
thing that Martin
You
King had
understand?
this dream, this was
Christianity,
like,
ball,
and
same
it had
thing.
nothing to do with the
You're
Lord.
worshiping another
And it
God,
had nothing to do with
God of
Gandhi.
the
I'm gonna pull out some stuff
Okay,
from Gandhi
so
as well.
this thing that
You
Martin
understand?
King had this dream is
But
like,
I don't think it was a good
and it
idea
had nothing to do
to
with
turn around
and it had
get
nothing to do with
beat
Gandhi. I'm
upside the
pulling out some
head
stuff on
to
Gandhi
eat
as
at
well.
Denny's.
You understand?
You understand? To eat
Because
at
I
White
don't think it was
Castle.
a good idea
You know,
to turn
for our people
around
to get,
and
I mean, look at this
beat
picture right
upside the
here. This
head
sister,
to eat at
this
Denny's.
sister is sitting in a
You
restaurant
understand?
with
To
all
eat at
the white
White
people that
Castle.
don't want her.
You
They
know,
pour
for our people to
drinks
get.
on her,
Look at this
food
picture
on
right
her.
here. Look at this picture. Look at this sister.
You understand? And
This
it's so
sister
many
is sitting
pictures
in a restaurant
of
with
that.
all white people
BMG,
that don't
what is
want her
it,
there. They pouring
The
drinks on
Woolworth,
pouring
was it
food.
Woolworth 4?
You understand?
I
And
remember
it's so
Woolworth
many
used to be
pictures
downtown. It's like
of that.
a Walgreens.
BMG,
You know what
what
I'm
is
saying?
the,
Woolworth was your first
The
Walgreens.
Woolworth,
You
was
understand?
Woolworth 4.
And they didn't
You
want
understand? I
them
remember
in
Woolworth
there.
used to be downtown. It's like a
What
Walgreens.
else?
You know what I'm saying? Woolworth was your first
Scottsboro
Walgreens.
boy,
You
the
know what I'm saying?
Montgomery bus,
And they didn't want
boycott,
them in there.
Washington for
What else?
Dobbs and free.
The
Oh my God!
The
You
Scottsboro
said
boy,
the murder
the
trial
Montgomery
of Emmett Till.
boycott.
You know, just all kinds of things that we went through and that we suffered back in those
the murder
times.
trial of
It should never have happened.
You know,
Okay, I'm gonna blaze
all
this
kinds
real
of
quick
things that we went
this is
through
from
that we suffered
this
back
is
in
Gandhi's
those times.
website.
It should never have
Time,
happened.
Cap.
Oh, ain't no sweat.
And I'm gonna blaze through this real quick.
at the water,
I'm gonna let
appreciate
you get it. Now this is
This is
from
from Gandhi's
this is
website,
Gandhi's
right?
website.
Right.
Take your
His
time,
life,
man.
his message.
Oh, ain't no sweat.
Okay. Now this
at the
particular
water,
section that we went to.
This is from
I
Gandhi's
was
website
right
right
in on this.
Oh, God.
His life, his message.
It says
Okay.
between
Now, this
cowardice.
particular section that we went to.
Now these are Gandhi's
right
words.
on this
Right.
DMG.
is
You understand?
it
This ain't
says
nothing.
between cowardice
Nobody went and
and
wrote
violence.
of their own. These
Now
are
these
Gandhi's
are
very
Gandhi's words.
own words
DMG.
out of his very
You understand? This ain't
own
nothing.
Indian mouth.
Nobody went and wrote
Right?
of their own.
See, Martin Luther
These
King
are
was so fascinated
Gandhi's
with all
very
of the
own
pictures that
words
they were
out of
showing
his
Gandhi laying in the street.
Indian.
Someone he ain't ate in a year.
Martin Luther King was so fascinated.
Martin Luther King was fascinated by that nonsense. But guess what? Gandhi wasn't all about laying in the street and not eating wheat. You understand? I'm gonna show you what Gandhi was
fascinated by that nonsense.
This is what Gandhi said.
Well, guess what?
He said,
Gandhi
I
wasn't all
would risk
about laying in the
violence
street and not
1,000
You
times
understand?
rather
I'm gonna tell
than
you what
risk
Gandhi was
the
Gandhi
emasculation
said.
of
He said,
a
I
whole
would risk
race.
violence
Right.
1,000
Martin Luther King claimed to
rather than
follow
risk
Gandhi.
the
He said he saw
emasculation of a
the
whole
Christian doctrine
race.
working over there in
Martin Luther
India.
King claimed
Martin Luther King was
Gandhi.
alive.
He said he
You understand?
saw
He was alive then, and he was
Christian
alive now. What we
doctrine
just read.
over there
Martin Luther
in
King
India.
lied black
Martin Luther King was alive.
man. You understand?
He was alive then.
What you say about
he was alive
Martin
now.
Luther
What
King?
we just read. Martin Luther King
Gandhi
was
wasn't no
alive.
B.I.B.I.
You understand?
Gandhi wasn't no punk.
What you
He
said
just
about Martin Luther
said,
King?
I
He was
would risk
B.I.B.I.
violence
Gandhi wasn't no
1,000
B.I.B.I.
times rather than
DLG.
risk the emasculation
Gandhi
of a
wasn't no
whole
punk.
race.
He just
Then
said,
this section right
I
here is
would
under says
risk
violence the choice.
1,000 times
Okay, it said,
rather than
I do
risk the
believe that
emasculation
where there is
of a
only
race.
a choice
Then
between
this section
cowardice
right here is
and
under
violence,
the
I would advise
Okay,
violence.
I do believe
Did you hear what the man
where
said,
there is
BG?
only a
Right.
difference between
Martin King
cowardice
claimed he went over
and
and studied
violence.
this. And he
I
said
advise
Christianity and
violence.
what he called
You know what the man said,
Gandhi,
BG?
he said
Martin
saw
King
what
claimed he went over
he
and
saw
studied
truth
And he
force. Ain't that what he said?
Christianity and
When that
what
word
he
to
called,
Satagria didn't even mean truth
was
and
connected.
force and love
He said
and
he saw
force.
it work.
That
He
was
saw
in
truth,
one of the king's
force.
big
Ain't that
dumb
what he
brain.
said? When that
Right?
word to
He said, I
Satagria
would
didn't even
rather
mean
have
truth and
India
force and
resort
love
to
and force.
arms in
That was
order to
in one of the
defend
king's
her
big
honor
dumb brain.
than that she should,
Right?
in a
He
cowardly
said, I would
manner,
rather
become
have India
or remain
resort
a
to arms
helpless
in order to
witness to
defend
her
her
own
honor
dishonor.
than that
Now, wait a
she
minute.
should
I thought he
cowardly
went
manner
and studied
become
Gandhi.
or
Right.
remain
Why did he
a
bring this
helpless
back?
witness to
Yeah,
her
right.
Why would he turn around and let little girls get blown up on a goddamn bus at church?
Why did
If he didn't study Gandhi, why he didn't say, hey, you know what we gonna do? We gonna watch a scene with somebody who's you gonna get their ass back.
Right.
You understand? They throw rockets, you pick up everything up, you bust their goddamn head. And that's your right to defend yourself. And what Gandhi is talking about, he ain't talking about just picking up a gun and just go killing people. You understand? That ain't what he was talking about. He's talking about self-defense.
Right.
He's talking about defending yourself. You understand? And I'm gonna keep reading.
You
Because
understand?
Gandhi,
He was
that's my man.
Okay.
He's talking
You understand?
about self-defense.
That's my man.
He's talking about
All right.
defending yourself.
Gandhi believed in something for real.
Right.
Luther King did not.
That's my man.
He said, but I believe, but I believe that nonviolence
Gandhi
is
believed in
infinitely
something for
superior to
Martin
violence.
Luther King did
So
not.
basically what he's
He
saying
said,
is
but I believe
just mistreating people, you know what I'm saying, just walking up to somebody, punching them inside the head, turn around and be able to get along with a person. You understand? He's saying that's greater than you just being violent. Like what our boxer is known for, I mean, historically known for, right? Forgiveness is more manly than punishment. Forgiveness adorns the soul. But absence is forgiveness only when there is the power to punish. And then check it out, it said it is meaningless when it pretends to proceed from a helpless creature.
Right.
Now, why on earth was Martin Luther King teaching black people to be just defensive? He said, Martin King said,
now why on
you gonna be
earth
nonviolent.
was Martin Luther King teaching
And you ain't gonna do
to be
nothing to
just
these people,
defensive?
either
He said,
externally
what he said,
or even internally.
you gonna be
You
nonviolent.
understand? And it's a part in here
And
where
you ain't
Gandhi
gonna
goes
do nothing
in on
to
the
these
internal as well. And we're gonna get that one too.
externally
All right?
or even
Now it
internally.
says, but I do not believe India to be helpless. Again, Gandhi was no coward.
on the internal as
I
well.
do
We'll
not
get that
believe
one.
myself to be a helpless
God
creature.
says, but I do not
Gandhi wasn't just sitting in the goddamn street,
Again,
laying there not
Gandhi was
eating
no
for
coward.
months.
I do not believe
Gandhi had guns
to
on.
be a helpless
Gandhi
creature.
You understand? And you look
Gandhi
this up
wasn't
the
just
sky.
sitting in the goddamn.
Gandhi had guns on him. He wasn't all just crawling around talking about don't step on
Gandhi
him.
had guns.
You understand? Gandhi wasn't about
And you can
that.
look this up and
He
see-
said, then he said,
Gandhi
strength
had
does not
guns
come
on
from
him.
physical
He wasn't all just
capacity.
crawling around
It
talking
comes
about
from
don't step on
an indomitable will.
Gandhi wasn't about that.
Indomitable means something that you cannot conquer, you cannot destroy. They have destroyed. Martin Luther King helped destroy the will of the black man.
And
You understand? We supposed to be, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna say aggressive to a degree. You ain't gotta be extremely. You understand? Aggressive, like just violent, and like they like to call us in nature, right? They like to say we just this uncontrollable beast, right? When all we've been doing was just laying down in the street, letting white people walk over us for all these years. You understand? We have absolutely been in Ghana. You understand? We have not been in Ghana. You understand? It's the other way around. They conquered us. You understand? They got us right where they want.
We have not been in
Let me keep going, and then I'm gonna get it. It said we do not want to drive out the beast in the man.
They got us right where they want.
Gandhi don't want you to be a punk. Gandhi don't want you to be no Lil John and be a beyond. He don't want you to do that.
In the man.
He said, but we do not want on that account to emasculate him. And in the process of finding his own status, the beast in him is bound now and again to put up his other appearance. The world is not entirely governed by logic. Life itself involves some kind of violence, and we have to choose the path of least violence. So what he was trying to do was, my man said, can we all just get along? You understand? That's basically what he was trying to do. Okay, Gandhi was what he was trying to do, right? Just be left alone. He won't be, it was the British. You understand? He won't be governed by the British no more. Okay?
Right? Just be left alone.
We're on to the next. No cowardice.
It was the British.
Right?
You understand?
It said, I want the Hindus and Muslims to cultivate the full courage to die without killing. But if one has not the courage, I want him to cultivate the art of killing and being killed rather than in a cowardly manner, free from danger.
Cultivate the art of killing.
Understanding this DOG, that was a nightmare.
Cowardly manner.
And then Martin Luther King didn't even go there and study Gandhi for real and then bring back what Gandhi said. But Martin Luther King should have brought back, when he got off that plane, he should have had his chest stuck. He should have had an S on his damn chest.
And then bring back what
not turn around, walk around, talking about we shall overcome.
When he got off that plane, he should have.
So it says this, it says, for the latter, in spite of his fight, when fleeing from that danger, does commit mental himsa. Do you know what mental himsa is, DMG?
For the latter, in spite of his fight.
Mental himsa is where it's destroying your brain.
Do you know what mental
you understand?
Himsa is?
That's what they're talking about. And that's what we've suffered under Martin Luther King and his movement and all the everyday thing that he is pushing black people, talking about don't hate the oppressor king in your mind. He can't. He want you to be at home and just say, damn, I hate black people. Don't understand what you treat us. It's not like black people don't have a legitimate reason for hating this oppressor. It's not like black people just woke up one day and said, you know what, man, I just hate white people. I hate the color of their skin. I hate they smell like dogs. I hate they can't cook. They make mashed potatoes. I just hate people. We didn't say that. They've been giving us a reason to hate them since slavery. They've been turning around, raping us, selling us, lynching us, castrating us, doing all manner of evil to us. Rape the black woman, soon see, turn around and made a law, and come in the black woman and say, take off your clothes and give me that. She say no, she begged. He pull out a piece of paper and say, I own you.
Turn around and made a law.
And then he take her body.
Come in the black woman say, take off your
clothes. You understand?
Give me that.
This is what the oppressor has been doing, and he's still doing it.
Piece of paper say, I own you.
What did my man, what's his name? Dante Wild say, to this day.
This is what the oppressor has been doing.
To this day, we are still being oppressed by these people. It's not like they let up any.
To this day.
And then on the second half, I'm gonna show you
to this day, we are still being oppressed by these people.
The other reason.
It's not like they let up any.
It was just a horrible idea.
And then on the second half, I'm gonna show you
that never came true. Never's gonna come true. Total nightmare. Alright, and I'm gonna finish reading this. It said he flees because he has not the courage to be killed in the act of killing. Right, and it says, by method of non-violence, never lead to loss of strength, but alone make it possible if the nation wills it to offer discipline and consider violence in time of danger. So, like I said, he ain't talking about just walking up to the EOY and pulling out guns on them and killing them and stomping them, like what the white man was doing to us. As we watching, walking up and down the street, Martin King had classes where he taught our people. He taught children, he taught women, he taught men how to turn around and walk and get punched and get kicked and get pepper sprayed and get taunted and get all. He had class. He had a class set up for that.
And get punched.
Man, guess
and
what?
Get
He didn't learn that
get
from
pepper
Ghana.
sprayed and get taunted.
He didn't learn that from
and get
Ghana.
all- He had class. He had
And I want to
class
say this
set
part
up
right
for
here,
that.
and I'm gonna get you half.
When, guess what?
I got
He
some
didn't
more
learn
on
that from
Gandhi. Gandhi laid it out there for real.
He didn't learn that from
He
Ghana.
said, "My creed of nonviolence is
And I
an
wanna say this
extremely
part right
active
here,
force.
and I'm gonna get you back.
It has no room for cowardice or even weakness."
Gandhi
And
laid it
the
out
reason he
for
said
real.
it don't have a
He said,
room
"My
for cowardice or
creed of
weakness because guess what? At some point, like he said, in danger,
It has
you
no
might have to
room
use
for
some violence.
cowardice or even weakness.
You just might have to
reason he
get
said
off
don't
the
have
ground,
room
even
for
though you
cowardice
hadn't
or
eaten.
weakness, because guess what?
You
At
just
some
might have to
point, like
defend
you
yourself
said, in danger,
because
you
there's
might have
danger
to
now.
use violence.
Okay.
You
It
just
says
might have
there
to
is
get
hope
off
for a
the ground,
violent
even though you
man
hadn't eaten
to be
weeks.
someday
You just might have
nonviolent,
to defend yourself.
but there is none for a coward. You
Okay.
realize
It says
that
there is
we
hope for a
still in this
violent man
situation that
to
we
be
in
someday
because we
nonviolent.
refuse to
It's
pick up
done
your
for a
manhood and your
coward.
masculinity
Realize
and be a
that
goddamn
we
man.
still in
Time
this
on time.
situation
We come up with more ways to be a coward. To walk around and talk about hands up, don't shoot.
your masculinity.
What is that?
Be a goddamn man.
What is that? Why are we
We come
keep
up with
begging
more
these
ways to
oppressors
be a coward.
to
To walk around
treat
talking
us
about
right?
hands up,
Don't mistreat
shoot.
us. You understand? This
that?
is ridiculous, man.
What
There
is
is
that?
no
Why-
hope for a
why
coward.
oppressors-
Okay? And it says, I have therefore said more than once that if we do not know how to defend ourselves. Martin Luther King did not teach black people how to defend themselves. You know who he did? You know who he did teach to defend themselves? The guys that was watching his family when he was out marching.
Right.
It showed you in that movie to where he told that God, hey, use this if you have to.
The guards that
My
was
family
watching
in the
his
house.
family when he was out
But
marching.
meanwhile, your family is outside with a dog biting all up your
Use
ass,
this if you have to.
ripping your flesh
In the
off,
house.
locking up your
Meanwhile,
children, beating
your
little
family is
kids.
outside with a dog.
Our
biting all
children's
up your
getting beat
ass.
while his is at home
Ripping your
safe.
flesh
You
off.
understand? They all around outside of his house like Spice One. They strapped.
Our
They
children
stay
was getting beat while his is at home safe.
Okay?
You
And then it
understand?
says,
they all
if we
around
do not
outside
know
of his
how to
house
defend
like Spice One.
ourselves,
They strapped.
our women
They strapped.
and our places of worship by the force of
And then it
suffering.
says,
And it said,
if
I
we do
be
not know how to
nonviolence. We
defend
must, if
ourselves,
we are
our
men,
women
be
and
at
our
least
places of
able
worship
to
by the force of
defend
suffering,
all these by
said,
fight.
"Hey, nonviolence,
What did Martin Luther
if
King
we
go
are
over there and learn?
be at least able
He said,
to
if you can't
all
defend
these by
yourself by singing and marching and
What
saying,
did Martin
we
Luther King
shall overcome. If that don't
He
work,
said, if you
then you better pick up some
yourself by
arms.
singing and marching and
You understand? You better defend yourself. Martin Luther King was a complete goddamn coward. I don't agree with nothing that he did. That idea of nonviolence did not come from Gandhi.
goddamn
He mixed that mess with love and truth. Wasn't even damn truth. Wasn't even love. That's not loving yourself, man. Letting your
He
men
mixed
go
that mess
march.
with love and truth. What
You out there, you got men.
wasn't even love.
The men that he had with him was getting beat upside the head. Why the hell would you send your women out there?
You out
Why
there
would you
with
send your children out there?
the men that
We
he had
protect
with him
ours here in the
beat
IHK.
upside the
Oh,
head? Why
boy.
the hell would you send
Oh
your
boy, you understand? What's the
Why would you send your children
you got me. What is the brother name that was on guard at every damn day?
Oh boy.
The one that had the whip at the hotel. I
What's
forgot his
hold on,
name.
we
Just
gonna say this, we got it.
any out of
What
Arizona.
is the brother name that was on guard at every day?
What is it? I forgot his name. Look, the brother he defended my son
Arizona.
with his damn life, his body against my vehicle.
What is it? I forgot his name. Look,
He thought my vehicle was getting close to my son. He grabbed him from behind him and stood there to make sure I didn't hit him. That's what we doing out
He
here.
thought my vehicle
You understand?
was close to
And I wasn't even driving fast. You understand? I'm real cautious because all our sisters and brothers is walking at. I pulled up just as slow as I could. But he saw my son run out there to get the car. He grabbed and put him back and protected. That's what we doing out here. Martin Luther King, you'll never hear that from a Christian. You'll never see that from these black people. You'll never see it. You understand? Only in the ISUPK. But like I said, Martin Luther King did not
You'll
get
never see that from these black
from
activists. You'll never
Gandhi.
see it.
Yeah, right.
Gandhi was no punk, man. understand? Even though he said he was just as skinny as he had pistols
from Gandhi.
I think his greatest weapon
Gandhi
AK
was
wasn't
no
it?
punk,
Yeah,
man.
the AK.
You understand?
Gandhi
Even though he said on
AK
his just as skinny as could be.
in that little
he
hut
had
he used to
pistols.
sit in the street.
I think his
and sit in,
greatest
he had
weapon
an
was
AK.
Yeah,
You understand? So like I said, I don't know Martin Luther King.
in that look,
there
but
saw.
he used to sit in the
But
street.
it definitely
and
wasn't
sit in
no love
with
and
an
damn
AK.
truth.
You understand?
It was all
So like I
about-
said, I don't know
Okay.
what Martin
Hey,
Luther King
you got-
went out there and saw, but it definitely was no love and no
Okay.
damn truth. It was all a lie. Okay, but go ahead, you got it.
Y'all fellow Israelite right on Kendrick Lamar. But so I don't disagree with what you said about Gandhi. But I think Martin
So
to me,
I don't disagree with
see
what you
again,
said about
I got the benefit of hindsight. Martin
but
didn't learn
I
what
think
he
Martin,
should have learned
to me,
about Gandhi. Because had he
see
really
again,
learned
I
about
got the
Gandhi,
benefit of hindsight.
he would up there and never
Martin
mentioned
didn't
his name with me.
What he should
Because
about Gandhi.
as we see in an article from the
He
New
would
York
have left
Post,
there and never mentioned the man.
and this is why I make sure I get this
Because
right.
as we see in the article from the New York Post,
I'm
and this is
sure I
why,
get
let me make sure I get this right.
Samir Savannah is the writer. Now, Gandhi was unrepentant
Samir Sardana is the writer. So
of
now,
black people.
Gandhi
So,
was
and this is a quote from Gandhi as he wrote a friend
of black
while
people.
he was stationed
So
in South Africa.
and this is a quote
Black
from Gandhi as he wrote a
Africans
friend
Are savage
while he was
and rough
stationed
and
South
living a
Africa.
life of insolence
Black
and
Africans
nakedness.
are
From what I
savage
hear
and
from
raw
my European
and living a life
compatriots
of
from America,
insolence and nakedness.
blacks there
What I hear
are
from my
no
European
different.
compatriots from America, blacks
I'm just saying,
there
Dr. King actually would have done
different.
some research on this man.
Now,
He would have saw this man
I'm just
probably
saying,
wouldn't want to
if
be
Dr.
seen having a
King
conversation
actually
with
would
you.
have done
Never mind you
research
saying
on
that
this
you
man,
adopted
he would have saw
any ideology or philosophy from
with you. Never
so,
mind
but
you
again,
saying
I have
that
the
you
benefit of
adopted
hindsight. This thing
any
came out
ideology
years
or,
after Dr. King died.
philosophy.
I don't think it was public
So,
in his
but
lifetime.
again,
So
I have the benefit of
you have
hindsight.
that.
This thing
So,
came out years
Gandhi
after Dr. King died.
can you know what?
Public
Because I'm trying to
during his
clean up
lifetime.
my
So,
language. So
you have
with that being
So,
said,
Gandhi
screw that.
can either you know what.
I mean,
Because I'm
you
trying
know,
to, clean up my
I don't
So,
deal
that
with
being
people
said,
who take issue with
screw
me.
that.
And so I think Dr. King kind of played himself when he was alive. He answering questions like, what do you think about this, about the man that you idolize?
He be
So,
answering questions like,
just like I
what do you
think
think about
him and other
about
people in the
this,
civil
about
rights
the man
movement
that you
would
idolize?
be
And so,
appalled,
just like
in my opinion,
him
the state
and other people in the civil
of
rights
black
movement
people
would be,
right now. Because again, I do think that they were
in my opinion,
well-meaning
at the state
in what the goals they had set forth to do.
right now.
I just
Because
think
again, I
that
do think that they
it
were
was misguided. In my
the
opinion,
goals they had set.
I think had we stayed separate and
I
built
just think
and
that
fought for better infrastructure,
it was misguided.
I think we'd have been much better off. And what I mean by that, instead of fighting to integrate
for better infrastructure,
into their schools
I think
to get a better education,
better off.
let's
And what I
fortify
mean by that,
our
instead of
school.
fighting
Okay,
to
our
integrate
folks raggedy. Let's
into their
nick these bastards,
to get a better
fund our
education.
schools so we can get new
Let's
books.
fortify.
Let's
Okay, our
boycott for
folks
that,
raggedy. Let's
as opposed to
make these
integrate. But
bastards
again,
fund our school so we can get the books. That's boycott for that.
So we
as opposed to integrate. But
again, it's a nuanced conversation because everybody always say, well, we had this and we had that, as if
so
we really had it popping like that.
Again, it's a nuanced conversation because everybody
our neighborhoods were sustaining themselves because we are the most resilient people on the planet. I don't care what nobody says.
Our neighborhoods were
and I think we are the most dedicated people on the planet.
I don't know what nobody says.
A lot of our people had to bust out of our neighborhoods and go into cities that were segregated. So guess what would happen when you standing at a bus stop and the bus pull up and the back of the bus is full because you can't sit in the middle of the room.
So
you gotta wait on that bus. You wait to their job that you go through to pay your bills to keep that community that you're trying to keep going and keep independent flowing because it takes money, it takes time, it takes dollars to stay within that community. Now you late to work. How many times do you late to work before you get fired?
Because it takes money, it takes time, it takes dollars.
The black cab company can't
now
go
you late to work. How many times will you be late to work
because it's
because you can't get a cab.
So
because the black
cab
company can't go
on one corner, you might have a few blocks off. So then you gotta wait on another bus.
So if a cab drop you off on one corner, you
again,
a few blocks.
These are the nuance.
So now you gotta wait on another bus.
For why
but if that bus, the back is full.
Wanted to integrate because so now
again,
to integrate,
these
they gotta let me get on this bus. I can get to work, and now they can't pass me up for the position I should have got 7 years ago. So it was nuanced. It wasn't just about our getting out of our position and messing with
7 years ago.
It was about making sure our community stayed intact by keeping the jobs we had took us out of our community. It ain't like we all worked in our community. We had recently got to the point where we could have took those same jobs and brought them into our communities possibly.
Now, but we have eventually got to the point where we took those same jobs
who are so diabolical
into our communities possibly.
That every time they saw a burgeoning black city or a black community
who are so diabolical
to rise,
that every time they saw
what happened?
A burgeoning black city,
people talk about Black Wall Street in Tulsa as if it's an anomaly.
We know what
happened all around this country.
And see, people talk about Black Wall Street in Tulsa.
So
as if
there was only so much progress that was gonna let you have
all around this country.
And so integration,
Florida,
was
so it was only so much progress that you had.
Because again,
so
it was up to me. Like right now, I would say abandoned cities around this country.
Because again, if it was
black people need to be buying up the abandoned cities.
I would say these abandoned cities around
those cities and making our own law, on our own police force, ISGPK policing those cities. Like that's
making our own
if it's up to DG,
having our own police force. ISUPK policing those
a leader of
that if it's up to DG,
this is what goes down in these
Commanding
cities.
General
And I use general as an example of somebody who I know
say this is what goes
get our people on the court. But for those who is saying I'm an undercover ISUPK member, I'm just using the general as an example. But my point being, that's what we need to be doing because we never should have got away from it. But again, I understand why they felt their hand was supposed to be doing because you have to leave your community to go earn a living for
yourself. Again, I understand why they felt
in many instances. Not everybody had their own business
because you had to leave your community.
Businesses, but people got their own business. So Cap got a store,
not everybody had,
but I got a job in the city.
So
that's
the businesses, people got their own business. So
if I ain't got no job,
but I got a job.
But how I'm getting work?
That's segregated.
If I got a car, yeah, I can drive.
If I ain't got no job,
am I gonna be harassed?
So
am I gonna be pulled over? Because you think
if I got a car,
we think
I can drive.
Discrimination. Now we get pulled over by cops.
Am I gonna be harassed? Am I gonna
Black
be
people disappeared on a daily basis.
We
Like
face
and it was
discrimination
nothing
now when we
done.
get pulled over by cops.
So they have camera
Black people
phones and recording
disappear on a daily
devices and these little handheld computers
Back
you
then,
got.
and it
So
was
when they got
nothing
pulled
done.
over,
See, they
like
ain't have
you scared
camera
of them,
phones and recording
the
devices
fear that came over these
handheld
people
computers we got.
was
So when they got
was
pulled
something
over,
like you have never experienced in your
you
life
scared
because
now.
they knew when they saw
the fear that
them
came over these people
happening, them
was
flashlights,
something like
it was a
you
life or
never
death
experienced
situation
in your life.
every
Because they
single
knew
time.
when they saw them
So
high beams,
again,
them flashing lights,
they
it was
thought
a life or death
if we
situation.
get quote unquote equal rights, they can't do this to us no more.
Again,
They were wrong.
they thought
But
if we get
that's what they
quote
thought would
unquote
happen.
equal rights, they can't do this to
When
us
you
no
think
more.
about
They were wrong.
as Dr. King
that's what they
said, all
thought
we
would
say
happen.
to America is be true to what you said on
When
paper.
you think about
Because you think like any other person, if
as
Cap
Dr.
say
King
he
said,
gonna
all
do
we say
something,
to America is be
I
true to what
think
you
he'll
said
do
on
it.
paper. Because
Because I think he's gonna be true to his
like any
word.
other person, if
So,
Cap say he gonna
These
do
people
something,
had gotten to a point where
think he
they
gonna
had
do it.
been in this country. They had
because I
labeled
think
and
he gonna be
fought
true to his word.
in this country.
So
And so they started to believe that the American dream was
in this
theirs.
country, they had labeled
Just
and
like
fought
these other people.
in this country.
But this ain't
So they
never been
started to
our
believe
dream.
that the
We've
American dream
been
was
held
theirs,
hostage here.
just like these
We're
other.
prisoners of war.
But this ain't
But
never been
still in the
our dream.
Constitution,
We've been
it
held
states
hostage.
that this is a country for
We
white
prisoners
people
of war.
and by white people.
The
Native
same
Americans,
Constitution
blacks, and all other non-white
indicates
people ought to be the
that
birth
this is
barrels
a
for the
country
full
for
citizens
white
of this
people.
nation. They didn't
white
understand that.
Native
They thought
Americans,
that they could
blacks,
really
and
be a
other
part of this
non-white
country.
people ought to be the burden bearers for the real
But
citizens of
I don't
this nation.
blame them
They didn't
for being
understand
deceived.
that. They thought
I don't blame
they
Dr.
really
King
be a
for
part of
being
this country.
deceived. Because again, I got the
I don't blame
benefit
them
of hindsight.
for being deceived.
So all I'm
I
saying
don't blame
is
Dr. King for
we
being deceived.
can make
Because
better
again, I got
decisions
the
than
benefit
our
of
fathers
hindsight.
did, than our uncles did.
So all I'm saying is
Because we learned lessons from their
make better
mistakes.
decisions.
And it's the same thing with Dr. King, with Malcolm X. Everybody make a big deal out of
We
Malcolm X
learn lessons.
and the nation, and they want to blame Elijah Muhammad for his death and these things like that. But nobody want to point out the fact that Malcolm went against the protocol of the nation.
And the nation, and they want to blame a lot
The leader told him not to do something, but he did it anyway. He said, don't speak of John Kennedy. The people love him. And he did it
The leader
anyway.
told him
But
not to do
regardless of what
something,
you
and he
think
did it anyway. He said, don't
of
speak
not
of John F.
speaking
Kennedy.
on this president,
People love him.
he said don't do it, so
And
he
he did
shouldn't
it
have did
anyway.
it.
Regardless of what you think
But we want
of not
Malcolm,
speaking
the good
on this
guy in that
president,
situation, when
he
he's the
said
one that
don't
broke
do it, so
protocol.
Malcolm shouldn't have did it.
So
But
the lesson is,
Malcolm,
when your leader tells you not to do something,
he's the
keep
one
your
that
mouth
broke
shut.
protocol.
Period.
So the lesson is,
And everything that happened after that could have been avoided.
keep
Like
your mouth shut.
all this stuff about what Elijah did with quote unquote underage girls, well, none of all of us was 18 or older, so I don't know what underage
all
is.
this stuff about what
Yeah,
Elijah
I wouldn't mess
did
with an 18-year-old, but in the eyes of the law, they don't. They were consenting.
So I don't know what underage
So,
is. Yeah,
whatever you think of that is what you think of.
In the eyes of the law, they
But
don't.
I'm not
They were
defending
consenting.
Elijah Muhammad. I'm just saying Malcolm knew about that
Well,
before he
whatever
got
you
kicked
think of
out.
that is what you think of.
Malcolm broke protocol within his
I'm not
organization,
defending
and that
Elijah
was the
Muhammad.
issue.
I'm just saying Malcolm knew about that.
But we don't want to deal with that. We want
Malcolm
to deal
broke
with
protocol.
the romantic,
Organization.
romanticized
That was the
of the sport. We want to listen to Sam Cooke.
But we don't
The
want
change
to
gonna come
deal with that. We want
with the watery
deal with
eyes.
the
When
romanticized.
the leader told you not to do something,
Listen
you
to Sam
shouldn't do
Cooke.
it.
The change gonna come with the watery eyes.
That's all it is to it.
When
And so
leader
Biden
told you not
may
to do
have
something
made
and you shouldn't do it.
mistakes. He even admitted he made mistakes. Y'all know this
that's
is the
all it is
quote.
to it. And so
I feel my dreams
may have
turned into a
made
nightmare.
mistakes.
I
He
fear I
admitted he made
integrated my people
Y'all
into
know
a
this
burning
quote.
house. He saw that. And remember,
fear my
both of
dreams
these men
turned
were only
into a
39 years old when they died. I'm 45.
fear
So I'm 6 years older than they were when they died.
He saw that.
And look at
Both of
everything
these men were only
they
39
did.
years
They
old when
went
they
through.
died. I'm 45. So I'm 6 years older
So-
than they were when they
And
died.
we now
Look at everything
want to look back
they did and went through.
and speak on them as if
So, and
we can actually
we
walk a nation with.
want want to look back
and need more before
and
40
speak on them as if
than most of us have.
we can actually
years.
walk in their shoes. And they
So,
did more before
again,
40
because it's
than
the
most
human
of us
element.
have in 80 years.
People gonna make mistakes,
So,
but they make
again,
mistakes so
because
that we
it's the human
know
element,
what steps not to take.
people gonna make mistakes.
So while
But
I
they
can sit
make
here and
mistakes
say, yeah, black
so
people
that
should get into these
know
abandoned
what
times,
steps
I know that
not to
because of
take.
the mistakes they made.
So
But
while
again,
I can
Malcolm,
sit here and say, yeah,
Martin
black people
wasn't alone.
I know
He didn't
that
make
because of
these
the
decisions
mistakes they made.
alone. He just happened to be the most charismatic speaker
Wouldn't alone.
and
He didn't make these
strategist
decisions alone.
of the movement. The movement was in
just
play
happened
long
to be
before he
the
came
most
to
charismatic
the
speaker and
Again, Ralph
strategist
Abernathy
of the movement. The movement was
said
in
we
play
should
long
pick
before
him
he
because
came
they don't
into
know
the picture.
the yet.
Again,
And
Ralph
just so
Abernathy
happened, the
said
day
they
they
should
decided
pick
to
him because they don't know who
decided to
he
pick
is.
him the day after Rosa Parks
And
got arrested
just so
for not
happened,
going to the back of the bus.
the day they decided to do this, they
This
decided
fresh
to pick him
faced
the day
young
after
man
Rosa
from
Parks
Atlanta.
got arrested.
So we want to put all of this, the weight
This fresh
of
face
these quote unquote mistakes on his shoulders, but we never mentioned
put all of this,
all of the other players that was involved.
of these quote
And
unquote
so
on his shoulders.
it's kind of crazy to me
We never mentioned
because again,
all of the other players that
Captain,
was involved.
we can have our own
And so
YouTube,
it's kind of crazy
but
to me.
he know how
again,
these people work
Cap
and how they
said
move.
we could have our own,
He said a black man created
but
the
he know
the motor engine,
how these people work.
but a white man got the patent for it.
He said a black man
Right?
created
That's a fact.
the motor engine.
It was a black man made the recipe for Jack Daniels. And just what 5 years ago, started getting credit for it.
It was a black man made the
Cap
recipe
told me
for
this
Jack
story. I
Daniels.
didn't even know this.
And just
A
what,
sister
5 years ago, started
was the
getting
one who
credit
did all the cooking for that white lady. What's her name,
I didn't even
Cap?
know this. A sister is
Oh,
the one who did all the cooking for
Oh,
that
you talking about
that white lady.
Paula Deen.
Yeah.
It was a sister who did all the cooking for her. And all her food,
Oh, you talking about
all her food was bland,
Yeah.
seeds.
It was a sister
She
who
was
did all the
selling-
cooking for her.
Sister that worked for
All her food.
doing the
I remember
cooking
you
for all of a
said
sudden she
food was
probably being the
bland,
world
not
renowned
seasoned.
chef. And she
Wouldn't
said,
sound
got
good.
a dime for it.
Sister that worked.
So I didn't think
doing the
that
cooking
a
for all
brother
of a
or a
sudden
sister
she
would have
probably
came
being
up
the
with something like
world
YouTube or
And that sister
Facebook
never got
and
a
they would have
dime.
gave them credit for it.
So are we to think
Would've got
that
that-
a brother or a sister would have came up
So,
with something
again,
like YouTube or
We say
they would have
things,
gave them credit for it?
but we don't
They
really
would've got that-
understand who we
So
dealing with.
again, we say
They wouldn't
things,
give us nothing,
but we don't really understand
nothing.
who we
They weren't giving us credit for nothing.
They wasn't giving us
All of these things came out after the fact.
nothing. They wasn't giving us credit.
Black man
for nothing.
doing the first open heart surgery,
All of these
things
things
of that,
came out
things of that nature.
after
Like
the fact.
nobody, very few people know.
Black man doing the first.
I forgot. It's a
things of that
instrument.
nature. Like nobody, very
tool.
few people know that.
Black man came up with it. I can't even remember what
I
it was right
forgot.
now. But
It's a instrument,
the defibrillator.
Yeah.
So
a tool.
they
Black man
that's
came
another
up.
thing.
I can't even remember what it
You
is.
don't hear about
But
these things. So for us to say
the
if we
defibrillator.
would have stayed
So
segregated, we could have did this and we could have did that.
you don't
They
know
would have
about
figured out a way.
So for us to say
They always do
would've
this
stayed
balance of
segregated, we
subterfuge,
could have did this and we could have did that.
stifle
They would have
whatever
figured out
progress.
as they always did, either through
There's no
violence or
coincidence
subterfuge,
That
to stifle
that
whatever
was,
progress we were
that's
making.
another one.
It's no
It
coincidence
is no coincidence
that
that
it is.
every prominent black city, in this country,
It's no coincidence
it was a false allegation that led
every
to
prominent
purging
black
of
city
that city.
in this
Like it was
country.
like the movie The Purge,
It was a false allegation
where they indiscriminately killed men and children
purging of that city.
because they couldn't
Like
stand
it was
to see
literally
these
like a
people
movie, The
get
Purge.
repressed. So
Where
now imagine mine now,
men, women, and
if
children.
we would
Because they couldn't stand to see these people progress. So in our imagine mind now, if we
you think that's what was gonna
we
happen?
would have prospered.
Right.
Are you
So
serious?
all I'm saying is we gotta stop playing
like we
like
really
what
think
is
that's what was gonna happen.
fairy tales. Like this ain't no Marvel cartoon.
So all I'm
It's real
saying
life.
is we
And
gotta
so these
stop
people
playing
made the
like
best
what
decision
is fairy tales. Like this ain't no Marvel
time.
cartoon.
At least they thought they was making the best decision for our people.
And so these people
At the
did
time.
make the best decision.
So I don't
At least they
harbor
was making
any
the best decision for our people
any
at the time.
anger
And so I don't
towards these people
harbor any
for doing what they thought was right.
any
A lot of people, and I used to be one of these
any anger
who believed
towards these people
that voting
for doing what they thought
made a
was right.
difference for black people.
You know, a lot of people, and I used to be one of
And
these
then I began to see,
who believe
and let's be talking about on the local level,
made a difference for black people.
it don't a whole lot
I
change.
began to see,
It's all about
unless we're
these
talking about
people
on the local
on a
level,
power grab
that don't
and
it don't
trying to
a whole lot
diminish
change.
the predecessor from the other party
These
for
people
3 years
power
or
grab
8 years, and then you go
and
back
then
to
trying
we
to
just swing
diminish
back and forth, and we
predecessor from
don't
the other
win
party
in any case.
for
Obama didn't do nothing for
4
black people.
or 8 years, and then it go
Black
right back
gays.
to, it just swing back and forth.
That's about
We
it.
don't win in
You know,
any case.
and
Obama
I
didn't
mean,
do nothing for black people.
I had that dialogue with
Black
anybody. You know, for black people.
That's about it. You know,
People was all upset about Trump.
I had
But
that
the
dialogue
truth of
with
the matter is, if we're talking about economics, I made more money on Trump in 4 years than I did
It was all upset
Obama
about
in 8.
Trump. But the truth of the matter
But
is,
Trump
we talking
racist.
about economics. I
Obama
made more money
racist.
under Trump in 4 years than I did under Obama
So
in 8.
the whole politics thing, if it ain't on a local level where it affects you right there where you live,
So
I don't really
the whole
like.
politics thing,
I'm kind of,
if it ain't on a
I ain't
local level
feeling it.
where it affects you,
and I know people all over the place. Our people.
I don't really.
Again, this is another myth.
I'm kind of.
Dr. King,
I ain't feeling that.
and they died and
I know you
bled
all,
for us to be able to vote. No,
people.
they
this is
fought
another myth.
and bled for us to have a
Dr.
choice.
King,
One of those choices
they
could be not to
died and
participate
bled
in
for us to
the
be able to
bills.
vote. No,
So we didn't even have that option.
and bled for us to have a choice.
But now I got the option to say I ain't even trying to participate in that because I don't see a winner
See,
for me on
we
any
didn't have
side.
that option.
But at least
But
I can
now
say
I got the
that.
option to say
I couldn't even say that at first because there was no option for me to participate in it either way. So my point
But at least
is,
I can say
in
that.
the grand scheme
I
of
couldn't even
things,
say that at first because it was
Dr.
no
King was a
option for me to
complicated man, just
either
like
way. So
I am,
my point
just
is,
like Cappy, just
in the
like
grand
most
scheme
black
of
men I
things,
know.
Dr. King was a
I
complicated
think he was
man,
ambitious.
just like
I think his
I
father
am,
had
just like
goals for
Cappy
him.
is, just like most black men I know.
I think he obviously
He
loved
was
women.
ambitious. I think his
And
father
so,
had goals for him.
I think
I
that
think he obviously
all of those
loved women.
things make up
And
who this
so,
man was. But I ultimately believe
all
that
of those things
he was doing
make up
what he
who
thought
this man
was right
But I
at the
ultimately
time
believe
for our people.
that
And they didn't have an
what
issue
he thought
with the whole unity thing.
at the
That ain't
time
what got
for
killed.
our people.
What got killed is when he
They
started
didn't have
talking
an
about
issue
poverty.
with the whole unity thing.
See, when you start getting at
That
the
ain't what-
root
that ain't
of
what got him
what the real problem
What got
is,
him killed
money.
is when he started
Start
talking
talking about their money. That's
See,
when
when you
the
start
problem
getting at
come
the
in.
root,
See, when he was talking about kumbaya, white people holding hands with black people, it was all
talking about
good.
their
Oh,
money.
this a nigga.
that's
We
what the
can
problem.
get
See,
behind this
he was talking
nigga
about
because
kumbaya, white
he want
people,
everybody to get
black
along.
people, it was all good. Oh, this a
But when
this
that
a
nigga
we can
started talking about we coming to get our check, they shot that nigga
He want everybody
in
to
the
get along.
face. And so I ain't never
Start talking about we coming to get our check. They
feel
shot
like
that nigga in the face.
a man who
And so I
went
ain't
out
never
and actually tried to
never
get things done for black people
feel like
in a real way and ultimately
man
gave up his life doing so.
went out
I'm never
actually trying
going
to get things done for black
to
people
think I'm
in a real
of of so high
also
stature
gave up his life.
that
Also,
I can talk down on that individual.
think I'm
That to me
so high a stature
that's going to be too far with things. For me, I can acknowledge what I think was a mistake.
That's going to be
having the benefit of hindsight, but to talk down with the names.
For me, I can acknowledge what I think was a mistake.
I just think we're going to take a bit too far. Because,
but to talk down with names,
Dr. King didn't push these laws through alone.
A bit too far.
And let's be clear, what happened to our community?
Dr. King didn't push these laws through.
See, they systematic.
Let's be clear.
This
happened to our community.
A fact. Ronald Reagan,
he was
George Bush, the Iran country. This is a whole show about
systematically. This is a fact. Ronald Reagan.
They put drugs in our neighborhood. I always say this. Everybody's saying the Godfather, that same word. They talking about getting the drug game. 5 families of the mob.
They put drugs in our neighborhood.
The money they hit the table.
Everybody's saying
in our neighborhoods, they give it to the colors. Let them lose their soul, their animal anyway. They systematically put drugs in our neighborhood.
In my neighborhoods, we'll give it to the colors.
Our neighborhoods.
Their souls, their animals.
Integration ain't had nothing to do with that.
Systematically put drugs in our neighborhood.
Integration was more about economics than anything else. It was more about infrastructure than anything else. Everybody act like all of a sudden we just
integration was more about economics.
Everybody
was more about infrastructure than anything else.
That's not what happened.
Everybody act like all of a sudden
all of these things happening anyway.
Everybody moved
after he died.
That's not what happened.
Drugs systematically put in our neighborhoods. Had the welfare system pushing black men out of the home. What did Dr. King have to do with
You had drugs systematically put
Somebody got to correlate this.
You had welfare system.
He was dead and gone.
Pushing black men out of the home. What did Dr. King have to do?
So, all I'm saying
got to correlate this.
What?
For me.
What?
He was dead and gone.
How was our current state?
All I'm saying is.
Now you can say we haven't progressed any, but how do we correlate it to a man who died before these things started to even occur?
Now you can say we haven't
because we got
but how do we correlate to a man who died
we got the
before
Moore
these things started to even occur?
We got comedic temples,
we got
we got Christian churches, we got the ICBC, and all the other so-called Israelites.
Temples. We got Christian churches.
None of these establishments.
And all these other so-called Israelites. Why ain't none of these establishments?
Because it was bigger than just one organization or one person. This was an all-out assault on a whole people.
Or one person.
It ain't a coincidence that it's liquor stores on every corner in our neighborhood.
All-out assault on a whole people.
So you either high or you drunk.
It ain't a coincidence that it's liquor stores on every corner
David
in our neighborhood.
had this, and I'm turn it back over to Cap.
Or you drunk.
David Banner had this analogy.
David Banner
he talked about how the Nazis adopted the project and ghetto systems from America.
He had
this thing where they put mice
in ghetto systems,
closed off area with
and they had this thing where they put mice,
and they wait to see how long it would take for those mice to start eating each other. It didn't take long.
Portions of food.
After that food was gone,
and they waited to see how long
they started eating each other.
Those mice to start eating.
So you put black people in these small, closed-off areas
that they start eating each other.
The economic system is broken because it ain't no eating in the homes. You just push them out.
Closed-off areas.
It's a liquor store on every corner.
The economic system is broken.
It's a church.
There ain't no men in the home.
On every
you push them out.
And you pushing drugs and things in there. Last check, ain't no black orange dealers.
It's a church. On every other
black people ain't got no boat to no plane to go get drugs themselves.
Last I checked, ain't no black orange dealers.
Systematic. Now I ain't saying that these people had to build drugs.
When you pour for real, This is systematic.
I ain't really judging
I ain't saying that these people had to deal drugs, but I'm saying
that
when you
decide what's going to do
like,
because
for
they ain't
real,
necessarily got the consciousness to say I'm poisoning
I ain't
my
really
people.
judging the person because I
So,
can't judge because I was one of them people.
When you start doing
That
that,
decide
it's a
this is what
setup
we do,
because
because you ain't
the best drugs
necessarily
they put in our
conscious to say
neighborhood,
I'm
they lock us
poisoning
up and
my
give us life.
So
Like you
when
put
you
drugs
start
in our
doing that,
neighborhood and then
it's
you
a setup
declare war
because the
on
very
drugs.
drugs they put in our neighborhood, they lock us up and give us life.
The downgraded
Like you put
version of
drugs
the
in our
drug crack,
neighborhood and then you
you
declare
get more
war
time
on
for it than the pure version of the drug cocaine.
the downgraded version
So what
of
does he have to do with
crack,
it?
you get more time for than the pure
It's
version
been
of
a war on black people
cocaine.
before Dr. King was born,
Dr. King.
and it's gonna be a war on Dr. King.
So what did he have to
I
do
mean,
with it?
black people long after
been a war on black
Dr. King
people before
existed,
Dr. King
1,000
was born,
years
and it's
after
gonna be
Dr.
a
King
war on Dr.
there's still gonna be a war on black
I mean, on black people.
unless we do something about it.
1,000 years after Dr. King existed, it's still gonna be a war on black people.
I'm not here to judge Dr.
Unless
King for the
we
decisions
do
he made.
something about it.
I'm not here to make up some narrative about how much he loved white women.
So I'm not here to judge
Because from what I
Dr.
see,
King
he
for the
loved
decisions he
women.
made. I'm not here to
He had
make
a
up some
rainbow
narrative about
coalition.
how much he loved white women.
Of mistresses.
Because from what I see, he loved women.
So I think he had some Asian ones.
He had a
Puerto
rainbow
Rico.
coalition
He was fucking everything.
So
of mistresses.
I
I think he had some
my
Asian
issue with the
ones. Puerto
brother
Rico.
is that
So
like so many of his constituents,
my
they
issue
fail
with the brother
for
is that
America's lives.
like
That we can somehow be
many
a part of this
of
American
his
team,
constituents,
and
they
it
fail
was never
for
intended for us.
America's lives.
We
We can
weren't
somehow be
included
part of this American
in the
dream,
Constitution.
and it was never.
And I feel like a man that graduated high school at 15,
we
college at
weren't
19,
included.
genius
in the
level
Constitution.
intellect, should have been smart enough to
I feel
know
like a man that
that
graduated high school at 15,
this
college
was
at
the case.
19, genius level intellect should have been smart enough
When it came down to
know
the money,
that
that's when they started to
This was
affect. He was cool while he was saying Kumbaya.
But again,
So
when it came down to the money,
we got Christian churches,
that's
Christian
what he said.
organizations,
He was cool while he was saying
we got
Kumbaya.
Kemetic temples,
So
more science temples,
we got
the
Christian
Nation of
churches,
Islam,
Christian organizations, we got
atheist
Kemetic temples,
organizations, Israelite
more
organizations,
science
including
temples, Nation of
ISUPK,
Islam,
and ain't none of them. So we still in the same
atheist
situation.
organizations, Israelite organizations.
All of these organizations had a chance to
And
turn
ain't none of them
around too.
black. So we still in the same situation.
Dr. King died in '68.
All of these organizations
So
had a chance to turn.
it's somebody else's turn. We so busy blaming Dr. King for something that he was long dead for.
It's somebody else.
It ain't none of us doing nothing. Correct what it is we call ourselves criticizing him for.
For something that he was long dead for.
So
It
he
ain't
gonna
none
step
of
up
us
now.
doing nothing to correct what it is we call ourselves criticizing.
That's my question.
So who gonna step
I'm
up
gonna turn it
now?
back over to my brother Cap. Peace to the chat.
That's my question.
Alright, you said, who's gonna
I'm
step
gonna turn
up
it back
now?
over to my brother Cap.
The ISUPK
Peace to the
has
chat.
stepped up. Management
Alright, you said, who gonna step up
we have
now?
stepped up.
The ISUPK has stepped up. The Commander General Yohana since 1969, we have stepped up. Okay.
You on Mr. DLG?
Earlier.
I said that's brother Rocky. He joking around.
Oh, okay. I'm just like, yeah, man.
You on mute, DLG?
Yeah, but
I said that's brother
what
Rocky.
I
He
said-
joking around.
if we had a
okay, no sweat.
say to ourselves,
Yeah,
we have
but,
our own YouTube.
Man, what I had said.
That's the point. If we would have stayed
if
separate,
we had a
and we
said
had
to
not
ourselves, we have our
joined
own
them,
YouTube.
but we did have. You said
That's the
our
point.
community wasn't popping
If
like
we would have
that.
stayed
Yes, it
separate,
was. Yes,
and
it
we
was.
did
We had
not
it popping so
join
much to
them.
where
and we did have.
It
You
took-
said our community
what did
wasn't
it take
popping
for our
like that.
dollar to circulate
Yes, it was.
outside of our community?
Yes, it was. We had it
It was
popping
like
so
almost-
much to where.
Yeah, almost a
took-
month.
How
Yeah.
much
For
did it
$1
cost
to go out,
outside of our
that's
community?
popping. I don't know what you think it is. That's popping right there.
Yeah, almost a month.
Your money is with you and your it's right there with you and your people.
But that's popping
But
right there.
your money goes somewhere else.
Your money is
People had jobs outside of it. Like I can't patronize your business if I ain't got no job.
somewhere else.
And so I gotta get to that job. That's in the city.
I can't patronize your
That's
business
segregated.
if I ain't got
So
no
it's
job.
challenges that come
So
with
you
that
gotta get
that
to that
affect
job.
our community.
city.
That's what I was saying.
That's
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but
so
still,
it's
guess what?
challenges that
It
come
wouldn't affect it
with
to the
that
point it is
that
now.
affect our
Even if
community.
they did
That's
have
what I'm
people
saying.
that had jobs
Yeah,
outside of
I
our
see what you're
community,
saying, but still,
Right.
guess what? It wasn't
our
affected to
communities
the
would
point that it is
still
now.
flourish.
Even
We
if
still
they
doing
did
good.
have
We
people
still had
that
it
had
going on
jobs
in
outside
our
our
community. But
Right.
when you look at the Chinese people,
Our
where the
communities
money
still
go that the
flourish.
Chinese people make?
Still doing good.
It
We still
go
had it going on
in their
in
pocket.
our
It stay with
community.
them.
Then
The
when you look at
Arabs, where do
Chinese
their money
people,
go? It
where
stay
the-
with
where the
them.
money go that
You
the
don't
Chinese
see
people make?
them
It go
giving our
in they pocket. It stay
our oppressor
with
their
them.
money
The
as soon
Arabs,
as you
where do
get
their
it.
money go? It stay with
You
them.
understand why?
You don't
Because
see
they
them
know how to
giving
be
our
the
oppress-
people.
uh,
They are
our
all people.
oppressors
We
their
the only
money
ones that
as soon
destroy
as
to
you
this
get it.
degree.
You understand why?
They are
Because
people. They are
they
community.
know
They
how to be
know and love their
They are
own.
all people. We the only
And
ones
when
that's
you mention
destroyed to
Gandhi,
this
I
degree,
wasn't saying
right?
that I'm
They
a
are people.
follower,
They
a
are
fan of
community.
Gandhi.
They
When I said he
know
was my
and
man, I
love
was
their
saying
own.
I was saying that
And when
because
you mentioned
Gandhi
Gandhi, I
was
wasn't
not
saying
what
that
Martin
I'm a
Luther
follower,
King
a
said.
fan of Gandhi. When I
You
said he was a
understand?
man, I was saying I was saying that because Gandhi was not
I just wanted
what
to bring a little more
Martin Luther
clarity.
King said he was.
When Martin
You
Luther
understand?
King said
I just
that
wanna-
this is where he
I
got
know
his
it.
tactics from.
I know it. I just want
Real quick, Cap,
bring a little
on mute.
clarity.
Oh, he-
Do you open it up for questions after this? Or we going to save hours?
yeah. We can open it up for questions. I'm gonna be
Real
real
quick,
quick.
Cap, and I'm
Oh,
going
good.
mute.
Okay, I'm going
Do
to.
you want to open it up
What's
for
what?
questions after this?
Like I said, and Gandhi being a racist, you know what? That's what black people need to learn.
Right.
Okay.
Black people need to learn how to be racist.
Like I
You need to
said,
learn how to guess what?
Gandhi being
Love
a
your
racist,
own
you know
people. Because that's what
black
that's
people
what the
need to
word
learn.
racist actually
Black
means.
people need to learn how
We
to be
look
racist.
at racist
They need to
immediately
learn
as
how to
hate
guess what?
because white people
Love your
hate
own
us and
people.
they are
That's
another
what-
race.
That's what the word
You understand?
racist actually means.
And everything that they
We
do
look
is
at
an act
racist
of
immediately
racism.
as hate.
They
because
show
white people
just how
hate
much they
us
love
and they are another
one
race.
another and how
You
much they
understand?
hate us.
And everything
You
that they
understand?
do is an
So,
act of
you know,
racism.
my thing, like I said,
They
my thing
show
with the Gandhi
just how
thing,
much they love
it was just to show
one
that
another
Gandhi
and
was
how
not
much they hate us.
what
You
Martin
understand?
King said he
So,
went over there and
you know,
studied.
my thing, like I
Martin
said, my
King
thing with
didn't
the
actually
Gandhi
go over
thing,
there and study
it was
Gandhi
just to show
and
that
bring
Gandhi
what
was
Gandhi
not,
said back
what
over here
Martin
because
King
he
said he went over there and studied.
wouldn't have lied to the people
Martin
when he
King
turned
didn't
around
actually go over there and
and
study
right before that
Gandhi
march on
and
Washington
bring
he
what
said, you
Gandhi
know what?
said
He said,
over here, because
the government is giving white
he wouldn't
farmers
have
money.
lied to the people when he
We're
turned
gonna go get
around
our check.
and right
But then
before
we
that march
get
on
out there
Washington, he said, you know
and
what?
I have a dream
the
speech.
government is giving white
Or
farmers
the next
money.
day he turned around and
We
he
finna go
said,
get our
well,
check.
we're gonna hold hands
But
with
then
white
when he
because
get
we're
out
white
there,
folk. We gonna
I have
be one with these people.
I have a dream
And for
speech.
all and I don't
On the next
understand.
day, he turned around
Maybe
and he
I missed
said,
the
well, we're
title
going
or
to hold
something. It
hands
was
with little white girls and little white boys.
Was
We're going to be
was
one
a
with
dream
these
or was
people.
it a nightmare?
And for
You was
all,
supposed
and
to
I don't understand.
explain how
maybe
it
I
was a
missed
dream.
the title or
I'm
something.
explaining how it was a nightmare.
uh,
Sound like you on this side of me.
Dream
Cause I ain't heard nothing about nothing being positive, nothing being so great, nothing that it was a wonder.
Sound like you on
For
this side
you
with
to
me.
say that
Cause I ain't been heard. I
disagree
ain't
with
heard
this
nothing about
and that.
nothing being nothing that you did was wonderful. For you to say
I got
that
you. Hold on.
disagree with this and that.
You said
I told you.
I showed out that these white people
Hold on.
came to politics,
I told
right?
you that.
I got you. Hold
That
on.
devil
Just hold on.
stole. He
You
robbed
said-
that sister. She lied to her.
Show
Told her,
that
"Oh, we're gonna be
These
rich."
white people, when it came to
And
politics,
guess who's rich? And politics.
that devil.
You understand?
I see saying,
Yeah, she said,
lied to
"Oh,
her.
girl,
Told
we're
her,
gonna be
"Oh,
rich."
we're gonna be
That's what she said.
And
You,
guess who's
you know,
rich?
how goofy white people are now.
I should say,
She turned around and lied to
Oh,
her
girl,
sister.
we're gonna be rich.
Right?
That's what she
Like you
said.
said, the brother that made the call, who got all the money?
you know
You,
white people are now, you talk.
you understand?
She
Not-
turned
not
around and
us.
lied to that sister.
Okay. For every day,
the brother
like you
made
said,
who get all the money?
the rent,
You understand?
the potato
Not
chips.
us.
You know what I'm saying? Who getting
for every
who
damn
got the
thing,
patent?
like you
Who
said,
getting all the money for everything we made. They are.
Potato chips.
So that would make more sense for black people to remain separate from them. Rather than try to join them and then think because they put it in a law they gonna stop.
For black people,
they haven't followed the laws and stopped yet.
Right.
You understand, DMG? They said, okay, segregation, guess what? It stops today. They still don't want you in their neighborhood.
They said, okay.
They still complain on you. All the what's it? The city inspectors and stuff like that on you. Say you got too many cars, you got too many Cadillacs in your goddamn driveway. You know what I'm saying? Your grass is too high. You know, all that kind of stuff to get you out of the neighborhood. Gentrification still exists today, to where they try to move us around out of the neighborhoods that they want. Okay, to where they taking them from being all black. That's why they letting all the buildings dilapidate in the area. That's why they letting it go down. They letting the crime go up and everything else, so they can continue to lock us up. Vacate all the homes, and then they buy them back for pennies on the dollar, and then they the buildings down, build schools, and then move white people. That's their whole thing. That's what they trying to do. And guess what? When you say, how was Martin Luther King responsible for what's going on today?
That's what they trying to do.
Okay,
and guess what?
Put it like this.
When you said, how was Martin Luther King responsible for what's going on
have a child, because you did say that he realized at one point that he was wrong.
If
did I
you
get that right?
And have a child, because you did say that he realized at one point that he was wrong.
Right, burning house is not a good thing, right? So if you realize that, okay,
a burning house, right? Burning house is not a good thing, right? So if he realized that, okay, here is the baby, I'm going to give the baby to a child molester. He waits to molest the child, say 10 years from now. Is the person that gave the baby to the molester, are they responsible or are they not? Even though they died 10 years ago. They died 2 weeks after they gave that baby to their child molester, knowing that they was a child molester. And they waited 10 years to molest the baby because it was only 6 months. So is this person that gave that baby to their child molester, are they responsible or are they not?
I don't get your analogy, Cap.
Okay, I'm gonna give it to you again. Now you said Martin Luther King knew that him integrating us with them was wrong, right? After the fact. After the fact, right? Okay, yeah, after the fact. You say after the fact. I disagree with after the fact.
So I give you a prime example. So I've done things that I'm not proud of, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'll give you an example. My mother called me one time, and my mother tends to, back then anyway, she tended to exaggerate. I'm in like my mid-20s. She said my little brother was being disrespectful. I left the gig and went and put them paws on him. And man, you don't never disrespect my mother. Now, I hadn't lived with my mother since I was like 13, but I still demanded that my little brother show her the respect that she do. It turns out, after talking to my little sister, that it didn't quite happen the way my mother said it did. And so I regretted, giving them that work to the degree that I did. However, I had already gave them that work. So the only thing I could go back and do was talk to them, apologize, let them understand why I did what I did, etc. Mm-hmm. My point being, with Dr. King, you made the moves you made with the best intentions, but then as you see things starting to progress in a particular direction, you like, maybe this wasn't a good idea, because the way this country going, it's not going in the direction we anticipated it would once this happened. It ain't kumbaya. It's worse than it ever been. So, but again, this was after the fact. But go ahead.
But you can't say that though, because we was going through it since we've been here. Mistreatment, being oppressed. Wait a minute. Oh, I got you.
In a certain direction,
no,
and it didn't turn out like that.
No, and no. While you wait a minute, hold on.
These his words, Cap.
Hold on, I got you. But I'm saying where I disagree at is because even during the marches, when have they stopped? When did they stop?
So you saying?
Martin Luther King was not. This was not foreign to him that black people was getting oppressed by white people. You understand? Racism, acts of racism, and white people harming black people for no apparent reason was nothing new to nobody. It was going on. So what make you think that, guess what? The law, you said put it in law and these people wouldn't be able to do us the way that they doing us? They had the law on their side. The law was doing it. And I'm gonna pull this real quick. Let me show you. I'm gonna show you real quick, DLG. Let me pull this real quick.
While you're getting it, I'm gonna read the quote.
Okay, go ahead.
So he says, "The dream I had that day has in many points turned into a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, it is a nightmare from which we have yet to awaken.
Ooh, good night.
I have integrated my people into a burning house."
Good night.
This was an interview, I believe, with NBC, but I'm reading it from the San Francisco Chronicle.
I got you.
And we got Rocky and B. Wash in the building too.
All right, shalom, brother. Yeah, but I mean, I shouldn't even have to read this. He just said his dream was a nightmare. And then you said what you did, DMG, was you went back and you apologized to your brother for you doing the wrong, coming at him wrong. Martin Luther King continued on. He continued on even after that. So what did he do? I mean, he knew all along, man. We can't keep trying to play like this man was just some damn dummy and I just don't want no trouble. He knew full well what he was doing. This dude was extremely intelligent, man. He knew, and he was not unfamiliar. His father was.
You want me to pull this up, Cap?
Huh?
You want me to pull this up?
Pull what up?
You sharing something? Right?
Yeah. I'm about to get to it. Yeah, his father was involved in it. His grandfather. I forgot the other preacher. His name. This brother, he started a church or something, and I think Martin Luther King ended up pushing through that, taking over his portion. Something I forgot. Look it up for me if you can find that brother I'm talking about. Man, come on, DMG. We can't say that Martin Luther King didn't know what he was doing, man. He did. He knew, and he did not try to fix it. You understand? When he got shot, he was continuing on. He was moving forward, doing what he was doing.
When he got shot, he was doing the poor people's campaign.
You understand? No, he wasn't campaigning for the poor like what you think.
Huh?
He was not campaigning for the poor like what you think.
It's called the Poor People's Campaign.
I understand what it was called. You can call anything. You understand? They call civil rights, but damn, I mean, what kind of rights do we have here and we still slaves? You understand? So it don't matter what you call it. That still was not his angle. That still was not his goal. Now because wait a minute, hold on. Now because of Martin Luther King and his movement, we don't have many businesses. We trying now to get black businesses. You know what I'm saying? Now it's a push everywhere you go, and that's just as racist as you can get by black.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
You understand?
What?
Hold on 1 second, brothers. We're gonna wrap it up real quick, and we'll let y'all get in. You understand? We turn around. Buy black is one of the most racist things that you could ever come up with. You understand? And guess what? We pushing that now. You understand? But look at what happened to our businesses then. Just imagine what those people was looking like marching into a white man's establishment to go eat when the black man sitting across the street waiting for you to fill up his seat. Got the best food in the goddamn town, and you go over there to the white people that don't even want you there. I don't know if you saw them signs. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. This is what we was walking around with. This is what Martin Luther King had our people marching around with right here. This right here is, hold on. Is it in the share mode? DMG
yep.
slideshow? Okay, cool.
No, you got to start the slideshow, but don't forget we got the waiting.
Okay, wait a minute. All right, I thought I had it in there already. My bad. Okay, I'm gonna go back to this picture. Here you go. Look at this, man. Look at this sign. Can't eat, don't buy. They didn't want you to buy at all. They didn't want you there. So why the hell is you putting this on, walking around trying to get these people to feed you? It makes no sense, man. All of this was stupid. But this right here to happen. Look at this sister, man. This is ridiculous. For this sister to sit there as if she's calm, as if she's having a good time, as if she's waiting on her coffee and her tea and her cheeseburger and her fries. She's getting food thrown on her, milk, whatever they drinking, they spill, they pouring it in her head. Come on, man. You understand? This is ridiculous. Martin Luther King knew what he was doing. They were already doing harm to black people. It's not like it was something that was new. They didn't just say, oh, you want to join us? Oh, now we're going to kill you. They've been doing it. They've been doing it. And these several series of books that I just went past by David Arita, this cat, he done wrote a lot of books. You understand? And from the ones that I done read so far, they've been facts, filled with facts in them. This picture right here says a lot, right? This is a young man right here. You understand that Martin Luther King organized one of the marches, and look what they doing to him. When he turned around and started with the Children's Crusade, this is what happened to them kids, man. Okay, let me get to it. Get to the point, and then we're gonna let everybody come on in. Okay, this is the preacher right here that started with. This whose idea was James Bevel. You understand? The Birmingham campaign was losing steam until preacher James Bevel came up with an idea. Students, he said, should march in Birmingham, and children volunteered by the hundreds. And it wasn't only hundreds, it was thousands of them that ended up going out there. Okay? And hold on, it's stuck again. Wait a minute. God damn it. How you get out of there? It froze up on me again. Hold on.
I hit
this one.
Let it pop up the bottom bar.
Okay.
It's hover over that.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't know why I keep doing that. Oh. Hold on. Come on. All right, there we go. Let me get to it. 1 second. I don't know why this damn thing keep freezing. Okay, so we got to the preacher that
this was one of telling you to get to buy a request.
What is that?
He said that's the most I'm telling you to get to buy a request.
And okay, this part it says send the children. On April 20th, King and fellow SCLC leader Ralph Abernathy were released from jail. They found that the movement had stalled while they had been behind bars. Only a few people a day had been. Hold on 1 second. You gotta pop up. Damn, did it close out, DMG? Something just happened. Damn it. Hold on. Oh, sorry. I got the book. I read it from the book because I don't know what's going on with my computer. All right. Okay. All right, it said only a few people a day have been demonstrated. The whole little thing started losing this momentum, man. You understand? Nobody was out trying to do that nonsense. Okay. And then it says James Bevel, a fiery preacher and SCLC organizer, understood the problem. Most adults in Birmingham, he said, didn't want to march because they could be arrested. And in Birmingham, employers were known to fire workers who were civil rights activists. According to Bevel in Voices of Freedom, the strategy was okay. Let's use thousands of people who won't create an economic crisis, but they're off the job, the high school students. It would be dubbed the Children's Crusade. Birmingham students will march downtown. The plan was controversial. As Malcolm X, a famous civil rights leader, said, real men don't put their children on the firing line. You damn right. It says, however, Birmingham's black students volunteered in large numbers, according to Bevel. The high school girls were the first to respond, followed by elementary school students. The last to get involved were the high school boys, because police were more likely to abuse them. Bevel said that they held workshops to help students overcome the crippling fears of dogs and jails, and to help them start thinking through problems on their feet. The marches will begin on May 2nd. Now that right there, that is insane. To turn around, and like I said, you had grown men. You had grown men that was out getting beat. Men and even the boys knew that it's more likely that we're going to get knocked upside the head than the girls. But guess what? The white man changed all of that. You understand? He changed all of that and show you, guess what? Them niggers, they guess what? They the same as you. And we'll beat them too. Okay? So then, and I wish I could display the picture. It said on May 2nd, children ages 6 to 18 gathered to the 16th Street Baptist Church. Martin Luther King Jr. talked to the children, saying he was proud of them. Soon the kids began marching while singing freedom songs. Under Bull Connor's orders, police arrested the marchers and sent them to jail. Yet more children kept on marching. This is ridiculous, man. Why in the hell are we putting our children out there? I blame all them parents for that. To let your child go and be arrested. You know, it was just a video of a young boy, 8 years old, crying and screaming with the police accusing him. Somebody accused him of stealing out of a store. And the police is arresting him. I got the video. I wanted to play it. You can hear the screams of these children that went through this right here. They recorded this as well. You understand? And Christians turn around and they celebrate this mess. Every year they celebrate this right here of what they put our kids through. It says police arrested these students after a children's crusade march in early May. Police arrested so many children on May the 2nd that they ran out of paddy wagons. They had to use school buses to take away all the young lawbreakers. On May the 2nd, by the end of the day, 959 young people had been arrested. I'll give you another one. Birmingham's fire chief did not want to turn hoses. Go ahead.
Cap, I'm gonna ask you that questions because we got to wrap this up.
I'm just about done. I ain't got nothing but a little bit more.
Yeah, but I gotta go in about 5 minutes, so I want to make sure I get these questions before we jump off.
Okay, no sweat. Let me finish this little part right here, if I could. All right, it says Birmingham's fire chief did not want to turn hoses on the children, but according to the book "Carry Me Home," kind of told the chief, "Turn them on or go home." Right? And you know what happened? The next part is blasted with hoses, and how the blast from a hose could break your ribs. And they was turning around and they was hitting our kids with those hoses under Martin Luther King, that he knew. You understand? That he knew that what they was going to do. But go ahead.
All right, so Rocky wanted me to ask you, do you know what Dr. King organized for before the Civil Rights Movement?
What did he organize before civil rights?
Correct.
Because he was he was in that church. It wasn't a boycott, right? The bus boycott.
No, that was part of the civil rights.
That was part of it. I know he did that Coalition Church, that the SLC. I think that was probably at that time. I had to check the timeline, but no, go ahead. Offhand, no.
Okay. And then the second question was from my brother Byron. Now, this is pay attention to this, because he says, can you explain the Poor People's Campaign and why Dr. King was in Memphis using only Dr. King's quotes?
Why Dr. King was in Memphis using only Dr. King's quotes?
The Poor People's Campaigns, why Dr. King was in Memphis using Dr. King's quotes only.
Dr. King's quotes only. That's what he was using. What? Okay.
He asked.
Even I think I get what he's saying now. Okay.
Right.
Instead of all the other stuff he was saying before, now he switched it up a little bit. And
just the Poor People's Campaign.
Yeah. I got you.
Okay. But in Dr. King words.
Right. I got you. It's still okay. You got to look at what the man did. Okay. He was still, even though he switched up, he did a little bit. The damage was already done. And just to go and say now, okay, like for instance, your man, what's his name? Bayard Rustin. Bayard Rustin turned around and used the civil rights movement, you understand, to push the gay movement. So, I mean, it's the same thing. Martin Luther King trying to now say, okay, now this is the poor man's campaign. Instead of us, now this dream I had,
so you know,
and he trying to push the poor man's campaign. Guess what?
Is that a no? You can't.
Is that a no? What?
You don't know what the Poor People's Campaign was about.
Okay, I'm finna give you my answer. Okay, because when you get through,
I
got the question.
His goal was what he said it was about.
Right, I got you. I understand it.
And it's cool.
He been saying. Wait a minute, just hold on. He had been saying all along what he was doing the whole time, right? So when Martin Luther King switching and saying, I believe I put my people in a burning house, right? And now he said, okay, now we got the poor man's campaign. The thing about that is this: Martin Luther King should have stopped completely. What Martin Luther King was doing was totally wrong, period. All of it. He should have stopped. He shouldn't have started no poor man's campaign after you took and put all the poor men in the damn danger. You understand? So he should have stopped. Go ahead, Cabal. I'm gonna let Cabal answer because he don't like my answer. Go ahead.
No. Listen. Officer, cut him up.
Let cut him up.
I want to reread the question because
he heard it and I understood it too.
The reason
he heard it and I understood it too. Go ahead. He got it.
Real quick. The reason I didn't like your answer though, Cap, is because you didn't answer.
I understand.
I
understand. Go ahead.
That I have an issue with.
Go ahead, bro.
Okay, so this was a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King, and this is the biggest problem with the whole poor man's or the Poor People's Campaign, right? The Poor People's Campaign was not about a black revolution. It was about the working class revolution. That was anybody in society who's going to Bible society. Now I'm going to read his quote. We have moved from an era of civil rights to an era of human rights. He was no longer concerned about his people. He was concerned about all people and everybody. It moved from taking care of our people and getting rights for us and fighting for our people to taking care of everybody. So that is one of the biggest problems. It wasn't about you. He still had your kids out there getting shot for it and getting hoses turned on it for it. But it was about everybody. Just the same thing as what Bayard Rustin did. He took his part of the civil rights movement. And every time we go out and get shot and get murdered and die for it, gay people or white people benefit. Every time. And that's what Bayard Rustin did then. That's what's going on with Black Lives Matter. They turned Black Lives Matter and all the protests and all the support they got behind it and turned that to fighting for gay and lesbian. That was about us getting murdered. Mm-hmm. That is what this is about. Now it's about, oh no, you got to let them go in the same bathroom. The grown men got to go in the same bathroom as your daughters. Mm-hmm. Like that is what that movement turned into. And that started with Martin Luther King and his quote, "We have moved from an era of civil rights to an era of human rights." Mm-hmm. That means it is not about the black man fighting for his justice. Mm-hmm. It's about the poor man fighting for their justice all around the world, because human rights is every human.
Absolutely. And that's the point I was going to get to. Hold on real quick, DMG. It's going to be real quick. That was the point that I was going to get to when I was making the comparison with Bayard Rustin and what Martin Luther King did and how it's the same old shuffle. Even in the article that I read, he turned around and he said this could work for all people. You understand? This truth force, this love force thing. So it was the same thing. You understand? From the we shall overcome to the poor man's thing. It was the same thing. That's the point I was trying to make. But I love how my scientist just broke it down on you. You understand? But go ahead.
Okay, but so I'm still looking for Dr. King, because that was about human rights. I understand, but are you saying that was specifically from the Poor People's Campaign? Because I understand what he said about human rights with regards to the Vietnam War, etc. Because he had started speaking out on that. That's why his popularity had dropped. But
did you hear him, DMG?
The Poor People's Campaign included the protest against the Vietnam War. All of that was included in the Poor People's Campaign. So it wasn't just about, that's what I'm saying. It switched from being issues dealing with our people to dealing with global issues and international and national issues dealing with other people. Like that, that's where the change shifted, was the people, the Poor People's Movement, right? It was all about that. And that was from and that quote that I said was from it was Martin Luther King's quote from Charter a Course for Our Future from May of 1967. Like that was that's what he said was the movement was about. It was moving from civil rights. It was going away from civil rights and moving toward human rights. So that's away from the so-called black man's right and toward the rights of Asians and white people and Indians and everybody. So that's the problem. So that right there is how it wasn't about us. That right there is, talk to what the reason he said it was for. He was moving from reform to revolution. That was the quote. That was also a quote of his. Moving from reform to revolution. So when he was doing civil rights, that was not revolution he was fighting for. He was fighting for reform. But when he went to fight for everybody's rights, that is when he went to fight for revolution. When he went to fight for the white man and his right to not be on the bottom in his society, that was the revolution. When he went to fight for the Asian man who was getting done wrong, that was the revolution. Not the revolution to stop our children from getting blown up in their own churches. That was just reform. And that's his words.
Absolutely. All right, go ahead, MG.
All right, so now this is from, let me make sure I got the source. This is from Ben A. Franklin, 5,000 Open Poor People's Campaign in Washington. This is from the New York Times in May 1968. So Dr. King says this quote. Now this is the day before his assassination. So he says, sitting with Dr. King and the vice president of the SCLC, Ralph Abernathy, I asked Dr. King what his goal was for the Poor People's Campaign and the sanitation workers specifically here in Memphis. Dr. King says, our goal is to shed light on the city of Memphis's treatment of Black sanitation workers here in their city. We want our people to close their accounts at all non-black banks and open accounts at all black banks. We have to start by building group economics amongst our people before we can work with other people. Now, again, this is the day before he was assassinated. This is April 3rd, 1968. And this is by Ben A. Franklin. The article was 5,000 Open Poor People's Campaign in the New York Times, 1968. So when we say things like he wasn't concentrating on our people, it just bugged me out because it was always about our people first and foremost. And that's why Byron asked specifically what he was doing in Memphis with regards to the Poor People's Campaign, because it was about the black sanitation workers and making sure they got a fair wage, because they had went on strike because they weren't getting paid nowhere near what their white counterparts was for the same work. And so he went down there to make sure everybody stopped buying this brand of bread. He says this in the mountaintop speech that Cap criticized earlier tonight. Stop buying this brand of bread because they don't have X amount of black employees. Don't bank at any white banks. Open your account at this black bank, etc. So I just get confused when we say the things we say about this man because we want to form a particular opinion because we don't like a decision he made. It was always about our people first. Always.
Yeah, that's not true.
I just read it.
If it was all about our people, then that quote that Cabal just read would have never came out of his mouth. You understand?
I said our people first.
People. What?
Our people first. I didn't say
our people all the time.
I didn't say he was only for our people. I said he was about our people first.
But you saying that, but you try to make mention of this as if Martin Luther King was doing something solely for black folks. When
I did. Well, Cal, what did I just say?
That's what you go ahead. Come on.
Okay, so as you said, right? That was the quote the day before he died, correct?
Correct. Yeah, 3 days. Yeah, 3 days.
Okay. So
no, it was the day before. The exact
day before. Okay.
That's great. So the Poor People's Movement had already begun years before that. They had already been involved in the Poor People's Movement. The Poor People's Movement took up the cause of the sanitation workers.
November 1967.
Question. And they took up the cause of the sanitation workers in 1968, but they already had a mission and a goal before that. So what I'm saying is that was the goal that he had with starting that movement. Now, yes, they went to different aspects and different peoples. And when he was specific about the city of Memphis, okay, that's that one cause. You speak to that one audience, but that is not the overall goal that Dr. King and the rest of the SCLC had stated for taking up the Poor People's Campaign.
Absolutely. It's like a person's mission statement in their business. You understand? Their mission statement be something totally different.
I know you hear me, right?
You understand?
We got B-Wash back in the building. Go ahead, bro.
I'm on limited because I'm trying to get my kids to sleep, but I just had to chime in. I asked a question specifically, right? And I was very specific and intentional in my wording because, I'm from the Deep South, born and raised. I'm talking about born and raised around plantation, clan people, all like born and raised. So there's a lot of things I know about Dr. King. Dr. King came to my city to learn how to even strategically do the bus boycott, because where I'm from is where the first bus boycott actually happened, in Baton Rouge. Look it up. But I asked that quote because we can have conjecture and opinions about what the man did and did not. But I'm like, let's look at what he actually said and let's use his words and let's critique his words. And I asked specifically the Poor People Campaign in Memphis, what he actually said. And I appreciate you, Pianki, for bringing out his exact quotes. And also you can put that again also with his mountaintop speech. So if I'm not mistaken, Bianchi, wasn't that quote like what the day or two before his assassination?
The day before.
Right. And then that evening or that night, he did the mountaintop speech.
Exactly.
So at least before he was popped off, before he took his last breath on this earth, you got where he was at and where his mindset was and what he was pushing. And to me, that's why I asked specifically those questions. It's like, okay, let's see exactly what this man said, that we got it on record forever at this point in time, and judge it based off that. Because we can do the conjecture game all day long with a whole bunch of people, but at least we got to go by what the man said. And I asked specifically those questions. I didn't ask anything else. I asked if y'all could provide it. And with respect to the brothers from ISUPK, Bianchi was the only one that actually put up the quote on what the man actually said while he was in Memphis, and specifically. So, and in full disclosure, there's a lot, and Bianchi knows there's a lot of stuff I know about Dr. King and his ins and outs and stuff like that. So I'm not coming in just from a place of ignorance. But what I'm just saying is that we got to make sure, and there's things that I can judge Dr. King on for things that he said and did as well too that I don't agree on. But I'm just saying, in that particular question that I asked, Bianchi was the only one to properly give a quote on what this man actually said of the Poor People's Campaign, specifically in Memphis, 48 hours before he was assassinated. That's all I'm saying.
And B, real quick fact, B. Remember, he didn't want to go do the mountaintop speech because he had did that press and he was tired.
Yep.
Remember? And they was like, no, you gotta go talk to the people. And he ended up going. So just like people like me and you who kind of, this our thing, a lot of people don't be having them type of insights because he was doing a lot of interviews, a lot of radio interviews, things like that, and he didn't even feel like going that night. But it ended up being probably, in my opinion, probably his second most iconic speech.
Prophetic at that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of I don't necessarily agree with everything that he did. I've been hearing that a lot from a lot of people that follow Martin Luther King. And it's you said you was boggled in your mind, deal, just kind of mind-boggling to me to follow a man that I don't agree with. You know what I'm saying? That I disagree with. But to turn around and try to
I don't follow him per se though, Cap. I'm a history buff, and this is one of our.
I mean, I understand you do a lot of research. You know what I'm saying, on history. That's your topic.
Remember, but following a man that you agree with, but like following somebody that you may disagree with some things that they say or do, and then following somebody that you disagree with. Those are two different things. I can rock with somebody even though I don't agree wholeheartedly with everything that they doing or saying. But there's a difference of following somebody that you just 100% or even 80% disagree with. Those are two separate things. Just point of order there.
Well,
and Cap, I don't agree with everything y'all saying ISUPK, but I tell you all the time, I think Commander General Yohana is a hell of a leader.
Right, but you ain't following us. But you ain't following us, though. And you ain't pushing it.
I'm not a quote unquote follower of Dr. King. I'm not a non-violent person. I choose violence 9 times out of 10. So you see what I mean? So
but okay, now but again, to what the brother pulled, what I was saying about Martin Luther King and his final work, it was the same nothing. It amounted to nothing. It didn't do anything, right? So when the brother read the quote, right, read it again real quick for him, because you're trying to take one instance like what he already explained, and he went there and he addressed it. Hold on, wait, I'm saying, you said you turned around and
that wasn't his question, though, Cap.
That was my question, bro.
I'm not talking about the question.
So what do the quote?
I'm talking about your response and what I said. Just pay attention. So with the
he asked the question about Dr. King
I understand that.
campaign in
Right.
Memphis.
I understand it.
That's why I read what I read, because it was.
I got you.
So
I got you. But that one thing, you can't go off of just one thing when there's something overall. There's something overall, and you will try to use this one thing when you got to use the overall. The overall is greater than the one. Read it again.
I agree with you, but that's
okay. So if you agree, what we talking about? How you trying to push that as if Martin Luther King was so for black people when he wasn't? His overall mission in that was this. Read it again, come on.
Bianchi, what question did I ask?
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second.
I asked the question.
Hold on, let me go back to the question.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
I gotta go back to the question.
Hold on 1 second. So to try to push that as if Martin Luther King was all for black folks, he was about it for black folks. He was not. Read it.
The question says, ask Cap why Dr. King about the poor people. Explain the poor people campaign and why Dr. King was in Memphis using King's quotes only.
I got you. Now read his overall mission in the poor people's campaign again.
That's not what I asked though, man.
That's not. That wasn't.
I'm not, bro. Okay, you just read what you read. Now we finna read.
So you're not answering the question though.
I already did. We already did. I answered it, and he answered.
That's not an answer though, bro.
Go ahead.
With respect, bro. That's not like a Q&A is, bro. I asked you.
You said what? It's disrespect. What'd you say?
No. I said with all due respect. I said I asked a specific question. And then you give me.
I got you, but why do y'all answer the question? I got you, but why you keep interrupting while I'm trying to say what you say?
Answer my question. Well, actually, you did answer it because you didn't have an answer. But then you.
Okay. If that's the case, then that's cool. All right. Well, let me say what I'm saying then. All right. Go ahead. Mute yourself for 1 second, brother. Let me go finish saying what he's saying, and then you can continue. Go ahead. Go ahead. So Martin Luther King, when I said that his movement was the same thing from going from the civil rights to now the poor man, right? Go ahead.
To an era of human rights.
To an era of human rights. You're talking about the poor man, him using quotes, talking about in Memphis, when overall he was not fighting just for like blacks. The mission should have stayed with black people and our rights, not no damn human rights. Martin Luther King, this was the same thing. He went from trying to bring everybody together. He said, and I'm gonna find that in a second too, when he was doing so apparently it was like a switch, right? After you said after he realized that he went from putting us in a burning building, now he switched it up, and now we doing the poor man's argument, right? Poor man's campaign. So we went from holding hands with little white boys and white girls to now the poor man. And the mission statement of the poor man's campaign says that these rights are for everybody. This is why today we still don't have no rights, because he wasn't pushing nothing for our people. You could try to bring up one incident all you want. Go ahead, Cabal.
What?
That was the.
Hold on. Y'all was go ahead.
That was the one quote about. That was his quote about what the Poor People's Campaign was, but the mission of the Poor People's Campaign, it was the Poor People's Campaign is a multiracial effort, including African Americans, Europeans, Asian Americans, Hispanic Americans, and Native Americans, aimed at alleviating poverty regardless of race. So
exactly.
The overall goal of the Poor People's Campaign is alleviating poverty without race. It does not include race in its mission. And to cherry pick one quote from one day, without taking the entire scope of an organization, is taking his comment out of context.
Right.
That's
right. Hold on.
Exactly why.
Finish saying what he's saying.
But let me tell you why I can't.
What he's saying.
No, I gotta tell you why I can't cherry pick though. Because
no, how can you wait? Why you can't let the brother finish saying what he's saying?
About Memphis.
Why can't you let the brother finish saying what he's saying?
This don't have nothing to do with Memphis, Cap.
Yes, it do. How does it not? It's the poor man's campaign.
No.
How does it not have nothing to do with Memphis when this is their mission?
That's
This is
the
the poor
mission
man's
statement
mission.
for the poor people's campaign. That
DMV
don't have
It's the
nothing
poor.
to do with
How does it not?
Cap,
How does it not? If it's the poor people's campaign in Memphis, then it's the poor people's campaign. Period. This their mission.
If I ask you,
Your brothers is bugged out.
All right, let Officer Cunningham finish, and then I'm gonna turn it over to you,
no,
Byron.
because
You
this gotta be
brothers is
established.
bugged
Because
out,
if you're
man.
not using
That don't make
question and
sense.
answer logic here, then it don't make sense.
No,
If
Cap,
I
you're
ask
not not hearing us, Cap.
if I ask you,
Y'all not hearing. Y'all not hearing Martin Luther King.
If I ask
You
you,
not
what's the
hearing Martin
difference
Luther King.
between a quarter pounder and a double cheeseburger, the answer is an extra patty. I don't need a history lesson on the cheeseburger or how it developed into a hamburger and cheeseburger. I said, if I ask you what's the difference between a quarter pounder and a double quarter pounder or a cheeseburger, you said, oh, an extra piece of meat and piece of cheese. That's
what I said. The difference. What I said. The difference in what Martin Luther King started off doing and what he ended up doing was the same thing.
But
that's what I said. That's what I said. That's what I said. It was the same thing. So you trying to bring up like what you said. His mindset when he died. That's what you think his mindset was on. When his mindset was on his mission statement of the Poor People's Campaign was to alleviate poverty from everybody. It wasn't just no damn black people. Just because he went to Memphis, you trying to cherry pick one incident.
I said what he
before he was killed.
I said what he said.
That's the last thing he said before he was killed. That's why I'm like, okay, let's talk about before he was killed. What's the last quotes that we got of this man? So I asked something specific. I didn't ask for anything else. I didn't ask for what he said. So
you just gonna disregard his mission statement. The thing that he set out to do when he went to Memphis, he went there with a mission statement. So you're gonna disregard the statement that he made previously, all to go off of that one.
If I ask you what you did in Florida, I gotta hear about what you did in Cleveland, California, and New York.
That's something totally different that you asked.
No, yes,
it is. Yes, it is. No, it's not. No, it's not. That's not the same thing. Martin Luther King, this mission statement of his, the Poor People's Campaign, he is campaigning for poor people wherever he go. And the mission that he has started with and set out before he went anywhere is the same mission wherever he go.
Yeah,
so it's to stop poverty amongst everybody. Even though, hold up, DMG, hold up.
The brother asked a question about what he was doing.
I already knew where you was going. I already knew where you was going. That's why my scientist was over here bubbling up in the goddamn lab.
I got all that.
I needed.
I got all that. But the brother asked.
I understand that. I understand that. That was not his. I already knew where you was trying to go. You try to save this guy when he's a loser. Martin Luther King was a loser. Okay, he was all wrong for black people. I don't care if he did switch from civil rights to the poor man's campaign. I don't care because he did that. He still said he did not help black people, man.
This is about the question,
Cap. Everybody, I understand that. I understand the question.
This is about the question. No, you can't.
Quick question. Okay, repeat the question and repeat it slowly.
Go ahead, B.
The question was, I got exactly what the question was. In the Poor People's Campaign in Memphis.
Stop.
It was his.
Stop right there.
Hold on.
You asked me to ask.
He asked you to stop. 1 second, brother.
Listen,
1 second.
You mentioned the Poor People's Campaign. You must define what the Poor People's Campaign is.
Mm-hmm.
So once you define what the Poor People, once you define what the Poor People's Campaign is,
that's
you contextualize the rest of. Listen, a white supremacist doesn't go to an ISUPK meeting and just
right.
Like you have to define the group.
Right. Exactly.
What's the point?
The point
if I was to say,
listen, the point is what I was saying was this is the purpose of the Poor People's Campaign. Now, Martin Luther King, of course.
What about the rest of the question?
Let me finish that first, and then that way you can hear what I'm saying. So the Poor People's, this is the mission of the Poor People's Campaign. Now, Martin Luther King took that organization with that mission to this one place to address this specific issue in this one area. That does not mean that was the only thing he was doing at the time. If you ever ran an organization that operated nationally, you might be at one event and still have other plans in the works in other places. Mm-hmm. So he was asked a specific question about a specific area. That does not mean that was the focus of his entire mission or his entire goal at the time. It was only his mission and goal in that location. Now, he had other places he was going. As we can see, his followers kept on with his work and started doing other things. And Jesse Jackson and all these other people started working with these other nations to push for their for what they were doing, continuing on his work. So you have to contextualize what he was doing. Yes, he answered a specific question about a specific place at that one time. That does not mean that was his entire mindset, especially with the Poor People's Campaign.
That Piaki, you can read my question right there. I didn't give any background. I asked one question, and I asked
never got answered.
You did. You did get an answer, and then here's the thing: is I already knew where you was going. Like you said, you wanted to know his mindset. You said you wanted to know the mindset of his time at that time when he got killed. Right? You trying to say that Martin Luther King was set out to help black people. That's why you brought it up. You understand? But he was not. That was not his whole goal was to help black
evidence that I was gonna say that.
You understand? That was not Martin Luther King's whole goal was to turn around and help black people. You can't turn around and say that the Poor People Campaign in Memphis is about black trash workers, but then when you go to the mission statement, it's about everybody of every color, of every race that's poor. Like that shit is crazy. That's crazy.
Piaki, can you reread the quote? Go ahead.
I took it down, but
no, it's all good. It's on record.
All I'm saying is, he literally said in the interview and in the speech.
Obi-Wan can't read minds. Plo Koon can.
Right.
Hey,
you got that one.
Officer Cut Him Up is way more well-rounded than I thought. Wow. But look, he said in the quote and in the speech that it was about the black sanitation work. Like, what do you want?
We ain't disputing that. I ain't dispute the part what you just said. Well, here is this.
Hear me out.
No,
that was the
I understand. I understand that. But I'm not giving you're not understanding my stance. I'm not giving Martin Luther King. I told you I don't agree with nothing that man did. Did you understand when I said that, DMG?
And look, Black Lives brings out an excellent point.
Wait a minute.
Who was more poor in America than black people? I got that, Cap. I got that.
Okay, so you understand what I said. I don't agree with. I told you that I ain't agree with nothing that dude did.
Hey, before the
and that last quote of his in that city versus his mission statement. Read it again, because these brothers, they claim they hindsighted and they passed that and all that. They ain't paying attention to Martin Luther King and the Poor Man's Campaign. You mentioned the Poor Man's Campaign, so let's address it. Let's address the Poor Man's Campaign. Let's address it. You brought it up. Let's get it.
No. I ain't even got time to read it again because I told you I had to go.
Yeah, try to read it again. He don't want to hear that. Martin Luther King was for everybody, and he was not for black people.
I'm about to roll.
He was not for black people.
All right, B, I'm gonna holler at you, man. I appreciate you coming back on.
All right.
That was not his mindset when he got killed.
Go ahead and close out, Cap. We almost at 3 hours. I'm supposed to be upstairs.
No sweat. No sweat. But the topic was Martin Luther King Jr. was his dream. Was it a dream or was it a nightmare? I believe that we, the ISPK, without a shadow of a doubt, proved that man's every thought, even when he went from marching on Washington to the Poor Man's Campaign, his every thought, black people was not in that big old brain of his. His ideal people was not his own. You understand? All the way from start to finish, even though it sounded like he switched it up. And like damn, I leading my people to a burning house. Now you led them into the burning house, and now you want to save everybody. But it's only one people that you led into that house that's on fire. Everybody else was just sitting at home without a job. Like what the damn mission statement from the Poor Man's Campaign said. We're gonna fix this poverty problem for all races and all people. Instead of like what you said you did, DMG, when you realized you was wrong, you went and made that right with your brother. Martin Luther King didn't make it right with his brother. He went and tried to go make it right with other people and make them his brothers. That's what he tried to go do. So now he all with the other races of people trying to fix poverty for them. You understand? Which is ridiculous. And like I said, I understood the question. I answered it. And I already knew the angle that the brother was coming in. This was a failed attempt to save Martin Luther King. He was a coward, man. He was a coward. He was dead damn wrong. I hope the man is turning over in his grave. I hope he don't get no rest for what he did to black people, man. The position and conditions that we are in right now, we still on the bottom. We're still on the bottom. We ain't came up. And if you think just because one or two people got a good job or got a business or got several, I got several. And I don't even give a damn about that. You understand? We as a whole ain't doing good. Just because I got vehicles and houses and cars and money, that don't mean nothing to me. Look at my people that's out here suffering. So I'm not finna jump out and try to save a coward, a known coward, that by his own studies, he claimed he studied but didn't study, is a coward. The man that he went to go study said Martin Luther King was a goddamn coward for emasculating an entire race of people, man. It's ridiculous and it's insane. It is insane. And that failed attempt to try to save that coward, you can throw that out with the wash too. You understand? Because guess what? It ain't going to get clean over here. You can't clean up none of Martin Luther King's acts. Nothing that he did from start to finish, the day he died. He mentioned black people before the March on Washington. He did the same damn thing. And you can't see the banana in the tailpipe. He said when he went to go give that speech before Washington, he said, man, look, the government is giving money to to farmers. We finna go get some of that money. And then when he went out on Washington, didn't even mention that damn money. Didn't even mention it. He said, I have a dream of little white girls and little black boys holding hands. That's what he said. Not no, hey, where is the money? We got black farmers with some good fruits and vegetables and some cows and some lambs that need money. Why don't you give it to them? He didn't say that. He didn't mention that. You understand? So like I said, to try to jump off the boat, man, and save a coward, you're going to drown, just like what you did. You and that brother. Because you can't take a person's whole mission statement and try to minimize it to one comment when his mission right here is bigger than that one damn scene and that one interview and that one statement in that one city that he made. He told black people in Washington, we finna get you some money. And guess what? He told poor people in the campaign in Memphis, we're going to get you some money. So it was the same mumbo jumbo. It was the same banana in the tailpipe. And obviously our brothers today are still falling for it.
And the show too on Sundays too.
You say you got what on Sunday?
I say tell the people about the channel and the show on Sundays.
Oh, are you ready for me to wrap it up? All right, no sweat, bro. We got the sharpest sword, man. Make sure y'all. I'm gonna let this brother go and do what he got to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I know he got to get out of here. He on the clock. You know what I'm saying? UPK, we do this all 24/7. All right, but yeah,
I got a wife to go please.
I got you. We got a bunch of them too. They get pleased. You understand? All the time. All right, but yeah, we got Sharp and Sword Radio going down every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Make sure y'all tune in. We got our classes going every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. and Sabbath service on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. You understand? Then we hit the streets and camp in every city in America, even out the country, You understand, while people are and being oppressed right after that Sabbath service class until we are done. So, like I said, make sure y'all tuned in, man. We got the food drive going down the third Friday of this month. You understand? The white man is running out of food. You understand? Commander Junior Hunter buying farms and planting groceries. You understand? So that we can feed our people. You understand? So that we can feed our nation without having to go to them for any food. Like I said, the more we come together, you understand, under our King Christ and obey the laws of God, then we'll be able to fix this thing a lot sooner. All right, and with that, shalom, everybody.
Shout out to Cap and Officer Cut 'em Up. I'm still looking for somebody to have a dialogue with Officer Cut 'em Up. I know people is scared to get sliced and diced. Come on and have a conversation with this brother. As you can see, he powerful, he multifaceted. He can talk about history. He can talk about science. He can give it to you however you want it. Somebody step up and have a dialogue with this brother. You pick the topic. He'll meet you halfway, and we'll see if we can get that on Paradigm Shift TV 314. So, with that being said, I don't even really know what's left to be said. My brother Cap and me wanted to show people that we can have a respectful dialogue between brothers who disagree. I think we did that.
No doubt.
So we get a little turned up, but you see, ain't nobody get disrespectful. That's what me and my brother do. So, with that being said, family, I think that I showed Dr. King was a man who had flaws, but who was trying to move Black people forward in power. It's a lot of things we may agree with and a lot that we may disagree with. But one thing that I don't think can be denied is him and people in his generation, people during that time, were trying to push us forward in power. Whether or not they did that successfully, whether or not they were naive in some of their expectations with regards to this country standing on, as Dr. King said, what they put down on paper, that's another separate story. But to put our plight and where we are now at his feet and his feet alone, I think is mad. That's crazy, because it takes more than one person to get an entire people into the situation we in. And so I think that, you know, I feel like we put so much weight at his feet when we disregard the fact that he didn't even start the movement that he gets so much credit for. He came into it as a 20-something-year-old man. The man died at 39 years old. So I think we need to start putting more respect on our ancestors who actually got out there, put boots on the ground, and tried to get things done for our people's name. Period. We can eat the meat and spit out the bones, so to speak. So that's where I'm at with it. And with that being said, I'm gonna let this brother close us out. Cap, you should like that, man. He an Israelite.
Hey, he in a fake Israelite group.
Martin had a dream, Cap.
All my life I want money. I respect my mind.
Good night.
With that being said, this has been Paradigm Shift TV 314.